Best Lonzo.
Take that to heart, kids. It's all the work.
You know, we've been rocking this intro song for a long time. The dudes who laid it down deserve some credit because it's a pretty raging banger, dude.
Yeah, I didn't do this one. I believe Stoneman did it. So I'm not sure if he got the audio from our library, meaning the Odyssey library, which has thousands of songs, a lot of which sound exactly alike. So I can cut it down and send it to you, and you can make it your ringtone.
Kind of don't hate it. How big-headed is that? Rob, what's that ringtone? No big deal. Just my show's intro song.
I have to say that I've used an intro on the Upstate Pulse for its entire run. If I hear that song, and I don't remember the name of the song, but if I hear that anywhere, I automatically perk up.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
You can always ask me a question.
And here's what made me think of this.
Although I'm concerned because you're looking down.
No, because I'm trying to think of how to set it up.
That's why I'm concerned.
So here's why. I hear that song, I get ramped up, I get ready to go, right? Like it's Pavlovian at this point. I hear
that's what an intro is supposed to do. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you got a mellow intro, then you know the show's gonna be mellow.
Yeah. I hear that intro, and it's like time to go to work, right? Time to make the donuts. Let's get it. And it gets me ramped up. It gets me ready to go. And that's why we play it at the start of all 3 hours, right? So then I thought, okay, if I put that as the ringer on my phone, am I going to answer every time somebody calls it? What's up? It's Rob Brown.
You will.
Okay.
You can't help yourself.
So here's the question that I have. You've sat in the office with me for what? 2 years now we've been sharing an office?
It was pretty soon after you got here that way. That the train,
actually no, it was pretty much immediately that I got here.
I lobbied for that.
Because Captain America Chris Evans down the hall was in the office with us initially. He moved out, but you and I have shared an office for 2.5 years minus.
But I knew you were a wrestling fan before you got here. So because we were already having interaction. Yeah. So I was like, I got to have another wrestling fan in here.
So we've shared an office for 2.5 years minus the year and 2 months I worked from home or whatever.
All right, I have a confession, a quick confession.
You really enjoyed that?
No, they wanted Diesel in there, and I don't.
You made the push.
I don't. Yeah.
Where were they going to put me? In the office Diesel's in now?
With him. Yeah. So
I had my own office.
No, yeah, pretty much. Sorry. I mean, you can still lobby for that if you want.
No, I'm good.
But I lobbied for that because there's no way I'm being that tidy. I am not going to be that tidy. And I would complaints all the time. Hey man, why is there dust here? Why is
Diesel's mad at me because a couple of weeks ago, I have this thing after lunch, I'll grab a toothpick, right? And I acknowledge that this is really disrespectful and it was an accident. I went into the production studio to record and I took the toothpick out and I set it down on a napkin, but I set it down off to the side and I forgot to pick it up before I left. And boy, howdy, did I get some text messages about that. All right, here's the question. We've shared an office for 2.5 years now, an hour and a half of it, a year and a half of it. I was home. So about a year and a half now we've shared an office. Do I, when I talk on the phone, have a different voice than I have when I talk in real life?
Yes.
Do I?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Is it my radio voice?
No.
Really? So I have a third phone voice.
You've heard me I have a totally different voice on the phone.
Yeah, but you acknowledge that you don't like talking on the phone / Zoom meetings.
I do it on purpose because people don't realize it's me. And so they'll say stuff about me to me, which I think is hilarious.
On Tuesday, I took a phone call from Bill, who is the podcast guy that Lonzo and I report to for our Views from Industry podcast.
Technically our boss.
Yeah, technically our boss. Yeah. Our boss on the podcasting side. who runs the Views from Mint Street podcast, available where major podcasts are found on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Apple iTunes, or free on the Odyssey app. If you want to talk Panthers, it starts with the Views from Mint Street. Anyway, I get the phone call from Bill at like 3:30, 4 in the afternoon. She's home. I answer the phone. I have a conversation with Bill for like 30 minutes. And I get off the phone and she goes, "Your phone voice is stupid." I was like, "Pardon me?" She goes, Your phone voice is stupid." I was like, "I don't have a phone voice. It's just my voice." She goes, No. When you talk on the phone, you use a different voice. Now, I kind of took that offensive, right? But at the same time, like I used to make fun of my mom because my mom does this all the time. Like when we would go through a drive-through to get food, mom's voice would change. She'd be like, "Sit down, shut up." "Yes, may I have 2 sausage biscuits, please?" And we always used to make fun of her for that. Whenever my mom gets on the phone with like family from back home in Louisiana, all of a sudden her New Orleans accent comes back out, right? We've always got to make fun of that. I get off the phone and the girlfriend's like, "Your phone voice is stupid." "I don't have a phone voice." "Yes, you do. You have a phone voice." She said, you have a at-home voice, you have a radio show voice, and you have a phone voice. And the phone, she's like, "I like the at-home voice because it's just me, but like a little quieter." She's like, "I love the radio voice. Your on-the-phone voice sucks." I had no idea I had an on-the-phone voice.
See, now it's in your head, but you absolutely.
I haven't stopped thinking about it since she told me that. I have taken
and you were
2 phone calls since then.
You were sure that you didn't have one, and now your whole world is weird.
Now whenever I get a phone call, that's the first thought I have is like, don't use a phone voice. And then I found myself like trying to force my regular voice. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I'm glad you didn't tell me that she said it before you, because that was a smart move on your part, because I would have agreed with her just to mess with you. But since you didn't do that, no, you absolutely have a phone voice, and I've heard it many times. And
we got it. We got our first Stick to Sports show message. It is 7 minutes into the radio broadcast, and we got, "Is this a sports show? Question mark, question mark, question mark." Yeah, it also turns out we're 2 human beings, so get off.
By the way, the texter who sent that, I mean, come on. You're the same one that sends it every time, and you're still listening. We see your number. I mean, maybe block your phone number or something so we don't know it's you.
Another texter said, "My wife says I change how I talk depending on which friends I hang out with. I've never noticed that." I will acknowledge I probably do that.
You, by the way, have some other voices, but I'm not going to call you out on the air.
No, I got to know what they are now.
No.
Like what?
No. This is something I will talk to you off the air about.
One's on your show. I have a different character when I'm on your show.
Yeah. You're just trying to be angry lefty over there.
No,
even though you don't need to be.
No, that's just poking the bear.
Because there's no politics on my show.
It's like poking the bear over there.
And the politics people have left me a long time ago because they know they're not going to get fed there. So, no. Actually, you're just trying to see when I'm going to say that's enough, Rob. That's what you're doing when you're over there. But you kind of. No,
on your show.
The bear.
Here like now.
No, over there, the bear you're poking is me.
Yeah.
I get that. And
how does it feel?
I think it's funny. To a degree, I get more worried about Cameron than I do you. So and you two together makes it even worse.
True.
So, but yeah, you do have some other voices. And all right, so Courtney's okay.
He does a totally different voice does anybody not have a different voice when they talk to their boss?
But she's right. I don't to one boss, but to the other one I absolutely do. So the downstairs boss, I'm more afraid of than the one down the hall, even though the one down the hall can pull the, put the pink slip in any time. But I've been working with him a long time. Unlike you, I don't talk to, we'll call this guy Steve, very much. And when I do, but I've had some bad experiences with VPs before. And so I'm just, I've seen them like fire people just for looking the wrong way. And so, but Steve's not that way, but still in the back of my mind, I remember all the other guys who came before him who were that way. And so I'm a little more awkward with him, and he knows it. So he plays with it, which makes it worse. He knows I'm feeling awkward talking to him.
In fairness, you do live your life with a slight bit of paranoia.
I do.
Yeah.
Just a slight bit.
Slight bit of paranoia.
Might be where I grew up, but I don't feel uncomfortable like that talking with our boss down the hall unless he says, take a seat and close the door. Then I'm going to be there a while.
Yes, sir. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is a sports show, so let's get into it, shall we? A lot of stuff we need to talk about. I will go ahead and tell you that the first hour and the third hour of the show are for your phone calls, for your texts, for your tweets, etc., because the middle hour of the show is interview, back to back to back.
Hey, I got to try something real quick. Hey, where my bots at?
Oh, you're going to call them in this
time? Where my bots at?
You send them out every day.
You're
going to call them in this week.
They're not here today.
They're not here yet.
Have we decided to have the bots moved on to another show? I don't know. Look, we already got one more after I said that. We'll see.
Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, we are going to open that hour having a discussion with Matthew Scott. He is from the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association, because tomorrow, I love you tomorrow will be their celebrity softball game, which I am playing in. And by playing in, I imagine I'm going to get flashbacks to Little League, like, hey, it's the 9th inning and the game's out of hand. Rob Brown, go snag you some XP out in right field. What do you say?
You do have a shirt, right? I mean, they have. Are you guys wearing a uniform?
I'm assuming we have uniforms. I haven't actually talked to them.
If you show up in the pink, you're saying, hey, look at me, and maybe you don't want to do that.
Yeah, no, me. I definitely hate saying look at me.
Yeah. Well, on the softball diamond, though, you may not. I mean, it's been a while since you played. You may not want to say, hey, look at me.
Daddy still mashes.
Nothing says ringer like walking out in the pink.
Daddy still mashes.
Also known as pank.
Don't you worry about me. Daddy still rakes. I'll bring it. Then at 10:20, John Harkes, head coach of the Greenville Triumph, will join us on the show. The Triumph on the road at Richmond tomorrow, and that game is big time. Now, Richmond has already locked up the number 1 overall seed in the playoffs. No matter what they do, they, with 50 points, are locked in. However, the Triumph, who are locked into the playoffs, do not have a seed. And check out this spread from 1 down to 6. The Triumph are second with 45 points. The Chattanooga Red Wolves have 43. Union Omaha has 43. Colorado Hailstorm has 42. And Tormenta has 42. Any one of those teams could end up tied with the Greenville Triumph, depending on what happens. Now, Greenville is at Richmond. Richmond is clinched. So no matter if we take 1 point and that jumps us to 46, then Chattanooga and Omaha could both catch us, and we'd have to get into some tiebreaker situations. If we do not take any points at Richmond, then Hailstorm, Tormenta, and Union Omaha could all end up, and Red Wolves could all end up catching or passing us. So where we end up in the USL 1 bracket playoff is still very much up in the air. And we'll talk to John Harkes about that coming up at 10:20. And then at 10:45, Kevin and Jarrell from the Moving the Chains podcast will join us, and we'll break down the high school slate for this evening. And of course, that includes the Burns Rebels on the road at the Cavaliers of Dorman. That matchup is tonight at Dorman. I will have the call pregame at 7, kickoff at 7:30. And then based on how nice I've been told Dorman Stadium is, I may just stay the night there.
All right. So you need to fill up a couple pics, some video or something of your reaction when you walk over to Dorman. The thing is, I don't know how to compare it to Spartanburg now, because I haven't been to the new stadium, and you've told me and other people have told me it's really nice.
Nice.
Dorman is a college, dude. It's
when we were doing the ACC Media Days, and we had Jordan McFadden on the show with us from Clemson, who played his ball at Dorman. When we were off the air, Lonzo, when we had McFadden on the headset, but we weren't on the air yet, Lonzo said,
I think it was on the air, actually. It was on the air.
It was. You're right. It was during the interview. Lonzo said, hey, Jordan, tell Rob about Dorman. He's never been there, but he's calling a game there this year. And Jordan McFadden was like, you haven't been there yet? I was like, no. He's like, you ain't ready. You ain't ready. I was like, for real? He goes, yeah, dude, it's like a D1 stadium. It's like a real nice lower level college stadium. I was like, all right. So Dorman is hosting Burns this evening. It is a regional play game. Burns is 1-1 in regional play. So this is a big one, ladies and gentlemen, a big one. Pregame at 7, kickoff at 7:30. I'll be on the call along with Sam Clark and Lane Fowler right here on the Fan Upstate.
Unless something has changed, prepare to have some spread out room.
I'm good with that.
You've never
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Unless something's changed.
Now, Spartanburg was nice because Spartanburg has their radio booths, and same with Greenville. Greenville's nice too. Spartanburg had a booth about as wide as this desk, and it's closed off. It's got glass on the side, so you can look down the press box, but it's glassed in, mainly for, I'm assuming, guys like me. But they also had, Zoe, up in the corner, a big screen HD TV that was showing the game and replays within the game. So you would call a play, and then you could just lean back and look up at the TV and see the replay. I've never seen that at a high school stadium before.
It's been a few years since I've been to Dorman. I don't believe for a second that they've let other schools surpass them as far as tech and stuff inside the booth. But if I recall, their booth might be twice the size of what you said. And again, I'm going from memory, but I believe it might be twice that size.
We'll find out. It is tonight. It is right here on the Fan Upstate. All right, let's take a break. Coming up in this hour of the show. Obviously, as we mentioned, this hour and the final hour are for your phone calls, for your texts, for your tweets, for your emails, etc., etc. So if you want to get in on the show, you got to do it between now and 10. You got to do it between 11 and 12. That also means that I am limited to the places I can put other content, including Tennessee at Alabama. This is the biggest college football game of the year that nobody's talking about. I want to do that. Phillies Braves is late this afternoon. Game 3 back at Philadelphia. The Bravos, I think, must win tonight. Question is, do you throw Charlie Morton or do you throw Spencer Strider coming off the oblique injury? I'm going to give you my answer coming up later on in this hour. And obviously, to open up the 11 o'clock hour, it's Friday. And you know what that means. It is time for our Boo Box Bets picks. Lonzo and I go against the spread on 5 college games and 5 NFL games. Loser draws a punishment out of the Boo Box to be performed on Monday. That's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Bye, world.
All right, stream, got to do a live. Stay right here for me. Be right back.
All right, because I don't want to help a therapist have a set of books by going there and getting therapy. I just want to point. I had a dream last night, and so I need some dream therapy help if anyone's willing to give me some. So I'm at a hockey game in the dream, and I keep feeling something on my face and getting wet, and look over, and there's a listener's and his daughter has a Slurpee, and she is spitting the Slurpee on me. And
what did I just walk into?
And so I'm upset about that. And then there's a listener in front of me. I know he's a listener because he identifies himself as a listener, who starts talking junk with me, and then he wants to fight. And then he comes at me over top of the seats. And I put him in a Kimura, I think it might have been a Kimura, or it was some MMA hold. The fact that I don't know it in my conscious life doesn't mean I don't in my subconscious life. And so that guy wanted to fight. Everybody in the place wanted to fight me. So what is that saying to me? I mean, I need some dream therapy. Is that saying that, that I'm too mean to the listeners, and my subconscious is whatever that word is telling me that I need to be nicer? I don't know. I mean, it was I woke up and it was pretty messed up that everybody just wanted to fight me. Now I may just start making stuff. I actually had a dream, but I may start making stuff up just so Rob can come in and go, what did I just walk into? You should read what Steven says about Dorman, by the way.
Will.
You guys ain't helping me, though. Thank you, James. That makes me feel better.
I thought I had gotten over it, but I just looked up the MLB schedule for today and tomorrow, right? Because the Cleveland and New York game, Cleveland, New York had to get bumped to today. Yesterday was the AL's day. Today is the National League's day. But because of rain in New York, the Cleveland, New York game had to get bumped today, and now they play today. It's a makeup game. This game is at 1:07 in the afternoon. 1:07 in the afternoon. Now that doesn't bother me that much because that's a makeup game, right? You've already had your other two games slated for today. Here is the problem that I have. The Atlanta-Philly game is at 4:37. Atlanta's, and by the way, Saturday's Atlanta-Philly game is at 2:07 in the afternoon. The only night game the Braves have had in the NLDS was 2 nights ago when it got shoved back due to rain in Atlanta, right? They had to wait out a rainstorm. So there was like a 3-hour delay. So that game actually started closer to 6:30, something like that. Tell me why. Ain't nothing. Tell me why. It is. Yes, I was going Backstreet Boys. Yes,
I knew. I was waiting for the rest of the dance. They're doing this because of high school football.
Yes, Major League Baseball. Here's the thing. I actually, Lonzo, do think that a part of this is scheduling around other sports. And it is a sign of frustration. Now, I think it's at this point, I think it's frankly kind of lazy to go back into another baseball is dying segment, right? I'm kind of over it. World Series viewership is fine. Is baseball growing? Not really. But stale doesn't by definition mean bad. Stagnant doesn't by definition mean bad, right?
Yeah, stale is kind of bad.
All right, stale's not the right word. You're right. Stale is bad.
Stagnant works, I guess.
How about static? Static isn't bad. Stationary isn't bad.
I'm just going to be quiet now.
Baseball's viewership not increasing isn't bad. Decreasing would be bad. All right? It's not.
Staying even. How about there?
Yeah.
Even's a good word.
Staying level isn't bad.
Level works too.
Yeah. Bad is decreasing. It's not really decreasing. Here is my problem, though. It's also not giving itself a chance to increase. Why is it that there's only 2 games that were scheduled today? Now, Cleveland, New York had to get moved to today due to rain, but the other 2 games, Atlanta at Philly and LA at San Diego, those were the only 2 games that were scheduled for today. Why did baseball decide Atlanta at Philly is at 4:37 in the afternoon? Now, don't get me wrong. That's better if you're a Braves fan. That's better if you are the Braves, because this game is at Philly. The Phillies haven't played a game at home in like 2 weeks. The Eagles are 5-0, the only undefeated team in the National Football League. The 76ers genuinely believe that they are an NBA playoff team this year. And the Phillies just went down to Atlanta and stole one away from the defending World Series champions Atlanta Braves. Philly is a hype sports team right now, a hype sports city right now. Which means that that stadium is going to be on fire for pitch number 1. To talk baseball, the best thing the Braves can do is go put up 3 or 4 in the opening frame and try to take the crowd out of it a little bit. Because it is going to be loud in Philly. No doubt about it. But from a everybody who's not at that game perspective, why are we playing this at 4:37? Your other game is not until 8:37 p.m. You could play Atlanta at Philly at 6:30 in the evening, and it would just barely bleed over into the Dodgers-Padres game. I don't understand, and this is my biggest problem with baseball right now. I don't understand the decision-making process, right? We're banning the shift next year. You know how many shifts I saw in that Philly-Atlanta game the other night, game 2? Like 12 of them. It is an important defensive tool, and they're taking it out of the game. Why? Explain that decision-making process to me. Why? Well, they want more offense, Rob. It's not good enough. This one, I don't get it. Why is Atlanta Philly at 4:30 in the freaking afternoon? What's the point? What audience are you trying to capture at 4:30 in the afternoon? Put it at 6:30 Eastern time. It's not going to bleed over into LA, San Diego, except for maybe the last couple of innings, right? And you open it up to everybody on the East Coast, as opposed to like half of them. If we had real jobs, I can't be watching TV at 4:30 in the afternoon, and it takes me 20 to 25 minutes to get home. I'd be missing the first 3 innings of this game. For what? For what? What is the point of a daytime 4:30 baseball game in the playoffs when you could have put this game at 6:30 with very little impact on anything?
All right. So first, welcome back, bots. And second of all, I think I'm trying not to be critical on Friday. I'm trying not to be, but this reminds me of the people. It's too hot in the summer. It's too cold in the winter. You're complaining about something, but most people complain when the games are on too late. And
6:30.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's like 8 or 9 o'clock
LA
games.
San Diego game is at 8:37.
Right.
I can understand going that's too late, but that is also, what is that? That's 7 to 6. That's, what is that, 5:37 on the West Coast. Like, if anything, if I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm furious that this game is starting at 5:37 as opposed to you could start that game at 7. You should start that game at 7:30 West Coast time. I understand an 8:37 Dodgers Padres game.
Do you complain about March Madness having games on all day?
No, but do you not see that's a different animal? There are 2 games today, not 9.
March Madness is playoff basketball. This is playoff baseball.
With 64 teams. There are 2 games. And by the way,
so you're saying no one will be at these games?
No, no, they're both going to be packed.
Right.
But you are
because people make it a holiday and they take the time off and they go and watch their game.
28,000 at the game. There are going to be 2.8 million people sitting at the house or that would love to be sitting at the house watching the Braves game today. The television audience is your primary audience. You can play this game at 3 a.m. and Philly's going to be packed out. All right. You can play this game at 3 a.m. and this stadium sold out for this game. But you are basically saying, if that is the case, that the 28,000 at the game are more important than the 2.8 million who would watch it at home. And they're very clearly not.
I am just guessing that a lot of people who are Braves fans, and if you're in Braves country, that at your office, the TV might be on and might be tuned to that game, and the boss ain't going to say anything.
Yeah, that's a bunch of mights, ifs, possiblies. Why not go for the definite? If it is 6:30 and you care that much about Braves baseball, you don't care that it's Friday night. I'm staying home to watch this game. And by the way, this game being at 4:30, Lonzo, helps me because I at least get to watch the first 4 or 5 innings before I've got to go to Dorman. If the game started at 6:30, I'd get to watch none of it, right? So it actually helps me. But from the perspective of I want baseball to not be in trouble anymore, as some people make entire segments out of, for somebody who doesn't want baseball to be in trouble, putting a game at 4:30 on a Friday when there are 2 games, if ever, like go back to, what was it, Tuesday? Tuesday, you had 4 games. I understood. I didn't but I understood why you were starting games at 2 or 3 in the afternoon on Tuesday when you had to fit 4 3-hour baseball games during the day and you didn't want overlap, which again, I also think was stupid because I go back to Wednesday, which was the NL's day. You go back to Wednesday, and because of the rain delay in Atlanta, you had both NL games happening at the same time, right? And you better believe I was happy as a pig in slop with the Braves-Phillies game on the big screen and the LA San Diego game on the little screen. And I had both feet kicked up with a bottle of whiskey next to me, loving Tuesday night. Was spectacular with both games on. There are only 2 baseball games today. There's 3 with the AL going at 1:30. But again, that's a rain delay. That's a move game. You got to do what you got to do. But when you had the chance to free schedule 2 games, you didn't even have to overlap the games and still could have done better than a 4:30 start. Unreal. And if this is a play by baseball because they think there's going to be more viewers if you stagger the games and they don't play on top of each other, I don't get it. I don't understand it, right? You don't even have to bleed these games over. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. All right. Texter says, MLB, don't see high school football as competitive enough to miss a baseball playoff game. MLB doesn't see high school football isn't competitive enough to miss a playoff baseball game. Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. Barring a few schools, I'm going to go ahead and get myself in trouble here. This is as a play-by-play voice for a local high school, but a guy who does a radio show. I get asked the question a lot. Rob, why don't you do more segments about high school football? You want the honest answer? You want me to get myself in trouble with the honest answer? Because in most places, not all, but in most places, the only people who care about high school football are the kids who play it and their parents. That's it. That's it. right? Now, you might care about your high school, right? But if you don't have a kid that's playing and you don't have a kid that's in the band, how many of y'all go to high school games on Friday nights?
A lot more than you think.
Dude, what do you mean think? I'm at a high school stadium every Friday night.
I get it. But how many of the people who are down there are actually there to watch their kid play?
The majority.
I disagree.
The majority.
I disagree.
That either have a kid or they have like a family member that's on the team. They have a direct connection to somebody on the team.
When I used to do the high school scoreboard on Friday nights, we would go to games for a half. We would sit on the opposing side.
You? No way.
Yeah, and because you know why? Because there's more room over there. Usually, the away teams don't always travel well. And we mingled with a lot of the people on both sides actually, and you can hear the conversations. Plus from Lawrence, there are people at Lawrence, just at Lawrence alone, I know because my kids went there, who go to games every Friday night because that's what they do, and it has nothing to do with them having kids on playing out there. There are kids like that. I mean, there are people like that everywhere.
I'm not saying there aren't people like that. I said the majority of. And again, how many high school football segments have we done on the show and had interaction? It's very little. The majority of the interaction we get is, oh, I went to blank high school and we're going to beat blank high school tonight. And then you never hear that. I have never had anybody, with the exception of like Kevin.
Blank high school never wins, by the way.
They're like vacant in the WWE. They get a win every now and then.
They're horrible.
I never once, never since I've moved here, for all we care about it that much. Like, great. Never once have I gotten a phone call on Monday asking me to break down a Burns game. Not once. Not once. Every Friday.
This might be a chicken egg thing though. So if you came, I mean, you would be the one guy to come in and break down the Burns game.
Yes.
Which I know used to happen.
Every Friday we have Kevin and Jarrell and John come in here and give us the entire slate. We usually get one text, maybe two, about guys asking questions about of high school football from these guys. Never once have I been asked for a follow-up.
I have to say personally, and I hate doing this on the air, but I would love every Monday for you to break down the game from Friday. I think that would be awesome because you're the play-by-play guy. You're
I'd be
there.
Happy to.
I think that would be a great segment. I would love to hear that segment.
I don't know how many people care that. Let me finish the sentence there. That it wouldn't be more justified for me to do like a 5-minute YouTube video breakdown and post up. And if you want to hear my recap of the Burns games, go watch it on YouTube, right? Or to just replay the post-game show that we do right after the game goes final on YouTube. I honestly think that would be more appropriate because I don't think people care. Baseball, on the other hand, Texter says, Rob, Rob, high school football is more popular here than any time of baseball, playoff, or otherwise.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And having lived here for half my life now, I think you get more reaction out of you recapping what happened on Friday night on Monday than you will recapping the baseball playoff.
Let's put that up on a Twitter poll. Let's put that up on the text poll right now. Shoot us a text. What do you ought? And I want you to be honest with me. I do not want you. Yeah,
because that works. What you're saying is normally they lie, but this time we want you to be truthful.
I'm saying people lie to themselves all the time, right? This is what you get. This is what literally virtue signaling is, lying to yourself.
By the way, and don't go against Rob just to make him mad because it is fun to watch. But so just don't do it for that reason. Don't troll. Don't troll.
Here's what I'm asking, and I want you. Don't be honest with me. Be honest with yourself, right? Be honest with yourself. What do you care more about? Postseason baseball, Braves included, or high school football, right? Like if I told you I was going to do 1 hour coming up on Monday, would you rather it be an hour dedicated to recapping high school football games or an hour dedicated to talking playoff baseball?
Why did this balloon into an hour? Why not?
Because I want people to actually have to stare it in the face as opposed to just going, I can stand 7 minutes of baseball or 7 minutes of high school football. I'm saying if I was going to do 1 hour on Monday where I recapped every high school game in the area or 1 hour on Monday where I broke down the baseball playoffs.
By the way,
which of those would you prefer?
I'm giving my preference now. I would rather not an entire hour. I think you ballooned that up to mess with the poll.
Correct, because
You mess with the poll.
No, I did
we were
not.
talking about one segment. We were not talking about an hour. You changed it.
Because you know that people will tolerate 10 minutes of high school football. But I'm saying if you had to listen to an hour, you are going to pick the one you care more about.
Right. So
which one would you prefer?
High school football.
You would. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We are 1-1. The vote starts out at 1-1. I will take an hour of playoff baseball over an hour of high school football. And that's from a high school football play-by-play guy who loves calling it.
He's not doing an hour of either.
No, I'm not.
That's why, I mean, don't think your vote will influence us to have an hour of those. We don't do that.
All right. Send us your text with your vote. If I was going to do an hour of either A, high school football, or B, playoff baseball on Monday, which of those two would you prefer? You can text your vote to 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and just text in either FAN football or FAN baseball. Would you rather an hour of high school football recap or playoff baseball breakdown? Text your vote 71307 to 71307. Start your text with FAN and either send FAN football or FAN baseball. I'm very curious about that. Let's take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1. Hour number 2, we are wall-to-wall busy. We open the 10 o'clock hour with Matthew Scott from the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association to make fun of me playing in a celebrity softball game Saturday evening at 10:20. John Harks of the Greenville Triumph joins us. And then at 10:45, Kevin and Jarrell from the Moving the Chains podcast join us. All that at the 10 o'clock hour, 11 o'clock, Boo Box Bets. The rest of the show belongs to you. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You changed the parameters because you know you were going to lose, so you made it an hour.
How did I change the
parameters? Yeah, you changed the parameters.
The initial question was, what do you care more about?
You changed the parameters.
That's not changing
the
the
parameters. You absolutely did. It's a haughty intellectual move. Don't be silent just because you think you'll be agreeing with Rob. It's okay. You can agree with Rob. It's fine. This is about you, the listener, not about me and not about Rob. So it's what you want to hear. This is your show, man. It's not, by the way, but, you know.
Oh, it is my show. I just choose to share it with you all.
There you go. It's a good move, Josh, because he doesn't always look at the stream. So, but you can't vote there and vote here, too.
I actually appreciate, like, I think that is an honest answer, right? If the Braves are in, Major League Baseball playoffs gets a huge spike around here. If the Braves were not in it, I don't think as many people would care. I don't disagree. What I'm saying is, I think a lot of people, if you'll pardon the expression, virtue signal how important high school football is to their life, right? Like, oh, I care about the kids from our. No, you don't. No, you don't. How many of you, like, you might drop a few bucks into the tip jar when they're like, all revenue goes towards the so-and-so high school football team. But, like, unless it's a big-time rivalry game, I have been to a lot of games this year. I have never seen full stands at a stadium.
All right. It's obvious I don't like baseball, and I've said that many times. So, I mean, as far as my, favorite sports on the list, baseball is way down there. It absolutely is. So I'm just telling you what I have seen, and it's been a few years. Maybe high school hasn't recovered from COVID as far as getting people out there. But when I was going, which was, I don't know, 5 years ago, maybe.
How is that under the mic? Weird. All right, I got to get a pen because I am keeping track of this.
You know, I could have gave you a piece of paper from over here, but you know, it's I could have actually gave you a pen too. Somebody appears to be angry. He's not. He's not really angry.
Make sure it's anything important. Oh, no, it's not. It's just instructions for somebody else's show.
He did storm off. You should have heard the footfalls. They echoed down the hall. And yes, I know that rhymed because, you know, my flow on fire, yo. I can say anything right now. He's not paying attention because he's typing.
I did not storm out of here on a tantrum.
No one said tantrum. You can storm without tantruming.
Really?
Yeah. Because storming just has to do with your feet, I think, more so than That's a prelude to a storming, isn't it? Throwing your hands up. A huff. There you go. That's it. But a huff is a prelude to a storming. These, by the way, are my favorite conversations of any day.
Somebody just said the people at Woodruff are called Woodruffians. Is that true? Is that what they call them, Woodruffians? Because that's a great moniker.
I, by the way, am not the person to ask that.
Woodruffians.
Because I would say yes, just because.
Steven said, I speak for me and the 25 bots on here. So I count 27 to 1. Lonzo, I just came up with a great name for our stream viewers. Lonzo is coming. So our stream numbers, for whatever reason, have exploded this week, right? Like, for whatever reason, starting Monday morning, they have tripled this week what they've ever been. And it's been all week long.
It's botastic.
Lonzo, the Rob Bots. What a stream name.
That's it. That's
welcome, Rob Bots.
Yeah, there we go. It's
like robots,
but
Rob Bots.
Isn't that kind of demeaning to the actual listeners, though? A little bit. It's pointing out.
Jim Rome calls his clones.
Yeah, I know.
And they eat it up.
All right, so maybe I have a problem with Rob Bots because of my disdain for all things AI.
Yes, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But so the listeners on the radio are the Rob Brown Armada. And if you watch the stream, you're
saw some text yesterday while I was doing my 11-hour marathon from the RBS Armada.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And I appreciated that.
The Armada is built to invade.
I'm not sure your text actually got read on that show, but I can't remember, but you know.
So if you listen on the air, you're in the Rob Brown Armada. If you listen on the stream, you're a Rob Bot. Can we just give a minute to give me props for how great of a name that is? That's a great name.
I would like, if you were not watching on the stream, to go back and see that thing hit him.
It really did.
It was amazing thing to watch.
Rob Bot, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
I am brilliant.
I've seen that happen a couple of times, and I'm always worried. Like, okay, what is this? What did I do?
All right. Welcome in, Armada. Welcome in, Rob Bots. I love it. I love it. Print the T-shirts, Jack.
The Rob Bots will be here probably for another hour, so enjoy your stay.
Hashtag Rob Bots.
Although the Rob Bots are down a little bit compared to the first little bit.
No, it dips and then it'll pick back up.
We got up to like 75 or 80 that first day.
We popped 90 a few times on Tuesday. So anyway, all right. Early results on our poll. We ask you the question. If I was going to do 1 hour of the show on either topic, what would you prefer it be? An hour of high school football recap, local high school football recap, or an hour of Major League Baseball playoffs? What would you rather have? The results so far, just in that break, we got 6 votes for high school football. We got 8 votes for Major League Baseball playoffs. It's actually closer than I thought it would be. So send a text 71307. Start your text with fan and either send fan football or fan baseball and let us know what you would prefer the hour of. Would you prefer an hour of high school football recap or would you prefer an hour of Major League playoff baseball? Your pick.
I still don't understand why baseball's still on when it's football season.
Because it's baseball season.
Yeah, it's not, though.
We literally
it's not,
declare a Mr. October.
Boys of summer should stay in the summer.
Nah. Too many baseball haters around here.
There's too many baseball games.
Too many baseball
There's
haters.
Too many baseball games.
No, I don't understand you people that are like, there's too much sports. Too much.
No.
In that world? I have never said.
Nice restraint there, by the way.
It's the same. It's the same people who whine and complain about there being too many ball. Oh, there's too many bowl games. There's too many bowl games. Oh, yeah. No, I hate it when football's on TV. It sucks when there's football on TV. I hate when there's a Wednesday afternoon football game. How miserable my life is.
I don't care about it if it's like, the Weed Eater Bowl or whatever.
Yeah,
that's what everyone uses.
In 2 weeks, football goes away for 6 months. I definitely want less of it on my TV now. I don't understand why you would want less football on TV.
Yeah, he's doing the you people. He did that yesterday.
Yes,
too.
I did.
He was, yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, yesterday he went after butter people, and now he's now he's going after people who want the baseball season shortened.
I will tell you right now on the stream, baseball just picked up another 3 votes between the Rob Bots and the Armada.
I was baited into to getting some people who don't like me to vote for you, because really it's a vote for me or for you, and that's how you've managed to manipulate the poll to where that's what it is. And congrats on being more popular.
I promise you, if the pick was between Rob Brown and football, I am losing that vote with everybody except my mom, and I don't know that that's for certain.
Yeah, you've read some of the texts from her.
Correct. You have too.
Trey has labeled you Rob Perot. He's got the ears. They're just covered up by his headphones.
Wow.
That was a joke. You don't really. But I mean, when you're his age, who knows? Because
woke up and chose violence.
Because I told you about my dream. Of course, I was fighting all night.
Woke up and chose violence. All right. We got to take a break. Coming up, opening up the next hour, Matthew Scott from the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association is going to join us, tell you all about tomorrow night's celebrity softball game and who's going to be playing in it, what's going to be going on. It's more than just the softball game. There is going to be basically a festival going on around it, and you're going to get to watch me humiliate myself. Then at 10:20, John Harkes, head coach of the Greenville Triumph, will join us on the radio broadcast. And then at 10:45, Kevin and Jarrell from Moving the Chains will run us down tonight's high school football schedule and the games you need to pay attention to. All of that coming up in the next hour of the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, stream, hang out. I got to give Lonzo a phone number, and then we'll be right back.
By the way, that's a great question. Originally, it was supposed to be a segment, but he changed it because he knew that my opinion would win. So he changed it to an hour. It's one of them their radio tactics.
Brian Cage is built like a create a wrestler when you're bored.
True. Look at the video real quick that I sent you on Twitter. Exactly.
What the hell is that?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Is that what is that?
It's
nutria? A possum? It looks like a.
It's a rat, man.
That's a rat. I'll put it back on the stream during the next segment. But good Lord. You know, I very frequently humiliate myself for your entertainment on the stream, for the Rob bots on the stream. Okay? I'm not above humiliating myself for you people to get a chuckle. The entire Boo Box Bets is nothing but things that humiliate us.
Really? No, it's humiliate me.
I mean, so far.
And that's how it's.
I hate this week's picks.
I haven't seen you humiliated yet. I want to be there for that.
You've almost had me 3 times. We'll see if this week is different. Tomorrow evening, I will be humiliating myself just a little bit because tomorrow evening, my fat behind will be trying to recall the glory days of my athletic career when the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association Celebrity Charity Softball game takes place at Lancaster, South Carolina, at, by the way, my favorite named athletic facility of all time, Doomsday Corner, home of the Lancaster Bruins baseball team. The young man who has organized this thing, and by the way, professional wrestling fan, Matthew Scott, joining us here on the show. Matthew, what's up, my dude? How you doing, big dog?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be on, and heck, man, I'm excited to have you come be a part of the event tomorrow.
You should not be, Matthew. You should not be at all. Let me ask you this. Now, you've done this for a handful of years. You guys have former professional baseball players that have been involved in this, professional softball players that have been involved in this, athletes of all ilks that have been involved in this, and then you got a 250-pound, out-of-shape, 38-year-old guy coming out there. Matthew, what are the odds that, A, Rob Brown scores a base hit at any point in this, and that, B, I don't walk out of this game, I am ambulanced out of it?
I think the odds are better with the first option there. I do think people will get a benefit there because I always hope every year it gets more nerve-wracking. I'm thinking, dear God, I don't want nobody to get hurt. Because last year we had Barrett Clankin, former Braves minor league player and coach. As he made a diving catch out in left field, as he earned the Gold Glove trophy, by the way, he ended up, his hamstring was shot. And I mean shot, like you could see it change colors.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was like, oh. First thing I said to the guy was, I said, please don't tell your wife on me.
See, Matthew's got the process figured out. He takes care of the big stuff first. This game is going to be tomorrow. Again, it's in Lancaster, South Carolina at the Doomsday Corner, home of the Bruins. Game starts at 5 p.m. And outside of the ability to come watch Rob Brown humiliate himself trying to play a game. I have not played beer league softball in about 7 years now. So listen, Daddy used to rake. I used to play first and third. I used to be a pretty decent baseball player, Matthew, but you guys have got some actual athletes and stars that are going to be out there. Give us some of the other folks that are going to be participating in this game.
Yeah, just kind of, I was on the show earlier this morning, talking about how we really shook things up this year. It's a fresh group of guys and girls, for the most part of it, guys like you, having the media side of it come being a part of it. It's something I've looked forward to having. Guys like you, Chris Phillips of the Spurs Up Show. Then you got athletes such as C.J. Jones, who played at football at Clemson University, Hearn Winningham, who was an outfielder for the 1990 Cincinnati Reds World Series team. He will be in attendance as well. And then you got names like Anna Kimbrell, who was a Team USA women's baseball gold medalist. I'm excited to have Anna come back. And then Ansley Gilstrap, who's a first-time participant this year. She is a former Clemson softball star. The girls' side of it, I've been telling a lot of people, the girls' side of things is a really interesting group because this is probably a very loaded group of players I got this year. And then you got other guys and girls like Adam Westmoreland, former Gamecock pitcher on the College World Series teams in 2010 and 2011. And then, many other guys and girls will be there. I'm excited. And hopefully nobody gets hurt.
Matthew's got the priorities down. Matthew Scott is the events coordinator for the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association as we are set for their charity celebrity softball game coming up tomorrow. I will be there. I will be watching most of it from the bench and then occasionally potentially taking an AB if my team gets up late in this game, hearkening back to my high school days. Before we go any deeper, Matthew, tell everybody what this is about, because you and I had a phone call about this a few weeks back and why this is so important to you and what this incredible organization and event is about. Tell everybody what this game is trying to accomplish.
Yeah, the game is always trying to accomplish raising money for kids with type 1 diabetes here in South Carolina, North Carolina, and the Georgia areas. The money we raise for our event every year goes to helping the organization. Scott is the summer camp out, helping that financially, being able to welcome more kids to come to the summer camp known as Camp Sweet Escape for a lower cost. That way those kids can come, learn how to take better care of their diabetes, interact with other kids with diabetes, because, Rob, one of the things that I've experienced from as a counselor, helping the camp, my mom does a great job and other people do a great job running the camp. But the main thing, like the why factor, when there's kids that come to the camp and realize, that they aren't the only ones that are, I had kids tell me that they felt, I don't know if it was, I guess you could say singled out or they felt alone, but with what we're doing, we're here to say, hey, you're not alone. You still do all these great things. And, as my dad told me way back when, you can either roll in and give up or make the most of it. And, being diabetic for 17 years now, it's crazy because, being able to make it a platform, I guess you could say, and for wrestling terms, being a Paul Heyman advocate sort of thing, I've been very fortunate.
We're talking to Matthew Scott from the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association, getting prepped for their celebrity charity softball game tomorrow evening. I will be there and playing in it. And it's something that as soon as you reached out, I absolutely wanted to be a part of it, Matthew, because, I had a buddy of mine growing up, young man by the name of Forrest, who had diabetes. And I recall when we were younger, him kind of going through that. And it is tough, when you're an adult and something like this happens to you, you can kind of put it into focus and, hey, stuff happens, etc. When you are a kid, when you're younger, to have this, to try to have this explained to you and try to understand like what you're going through and why you maybe can't do a lot of the things that other kids can do because of this thing you have no control over. I know it can have an impact on these kids. So when you can use sports, especially, to kind of give them an opportunity to go out there and not worry about it and put their mind on something else and encourage them in that process, man, what a cool objective for you guys to be able to work on.
Yeah, and it's like I said, this is it's crazy to think 9 years now. This was an idea, that I came about, back in high school. I think I was going in my junior year of sophomore year of high school. Sometimes I lose track, but the idea was it felt like it hit me, like I wanted to do it. And, as time went on, my playing days were pretty much behind me, but as they say, one door closes, but another one opens. The connections I've been able to make and, strides, I feel like, through trying to get this event into a bigger platform and a bigger stage. I'm excited. Tomorrow is our second ever night game in event history. It's always fun when the lights come on because, it's showtime. That's I'm excited. I encourage everybody, if you're in the Greenville, wherever you may be, come down, hang out with us. We're going to have fun. We're going to have great auction items on tap, food trucks on site, such as the Munchie Man, who I've known for a good while now. Great burgers, chicken wings, whatever it may be. And then Rolling Smoke Barbecue coming out of the Florence area with their he's leaving me in a surprise. And I keep saying this because he said he's either going to do chicken bog or chili, but he will be doing mac and cheese also. But I tell everybody, we're going to have a fun time, but we sure do know how to eat good.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if this was a celebrity food critiquing event, I would be much more valuable to the cause. But I will be glad to put my mediocre skills back on display. It is the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association Celebrity Charity Softball Game. It is tomorrow evening in Lancaster, South Carolina. It is going to take place at Doomsday Corner, the home of the Lancaster Bruins baseball team. Food trucks are going to be there. There's going to be kickball for kids and anyone who wants to play. There's going to be a home run derby. There's going to be a meet and greet with everybody who's playing in the game. And then the game starts at 5. And I guess that is one thing that I really find cool, Matthew, is that you guys have turned this into, it's not just a softball game, but you guys have kind of built like a little festival around the whole thing so that people can come and really kind of get into it a little bit more, as opposed to just sit there and watch a fat tub of lard like me try to run around the bases without pulling a hammy.
But hey, I give you credit because I can fully relate to last year when I had 2 at bats, and one of them I had a single in the left field. The ball rolled under the left fielder's glove. As I round first, I kind of just had my hands on my knees. I'm thinking, all right, I'm going for it. And all of a sudden, I had a dead sprint to second base. And the next thing I'm on second base. I'm gassed. I'm sitting there. I'm thinking, trainer, give me the trainer. But I'm excited. We try to make it, really worthwhile for everybody that comes out and watches the event, supports the cause. We always want to take care of everybody there, and not to sell yourself short, Rob. I tell everybody this: everybody plays their part. Everybody has a part in what we're trying to do at SCIDA, and especially the softball game aspect of it. I try to take care of everybody. From the guys, the girls, from people helping out to anybody involved, and especially the sponsors. We always try to make sure everybody is a part of this.
I love it. I want you to know, if I rip one out to left and I've got a chance to leg it out for a double, I'm not going to. Sorry, Coach. I am much more Daniel Vogelbach than I am anybody else. We are joined.
Coach tomorrow, too. I do remember this now because I'm like, hey, man, you got it. We're here to win.
Oh, no, listen, I'm coming for a dub. Lonzo will tell you,
all right,
I don't participate in anything. I don't try to get a dub. I'm just saying, I understand that legging out a double, the odds that I get the double are less than the odds I get tagged out at second. I know my role.
It would be easy for me to get on here and dog Rob Brown, but I'm not going to do that because the last time I was with him at an athletic event, he was out early because he was throwing out the first pitch, working on it. He's got really down on himself, and I pepped him up, got him ready to go. He got out there and he smoked it. So he's not going to go out there and dog it. If anything, you might need the ambulance because he's going to put everything into it. He absolutely is.
Hey, we will have some medical staff on site, so don't you worry, Rob.
Probably for the best. probably for the best. Matthew Scott joining us here on the show to talk a little bit about this. If people want Matthew to either to get involved or maybe just make a donation to kind of help an incredible cause that you guys are working for, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you and make that happen?
So the best way to do it is, if you can't make it, we hope you can donate $1, $5, however much you feel like donating, over on campsweetescape.com. There is a donation button there where you can donate the money, as I mentioned. But, more importantly, you'll see, who you are helping. You can see the website has those kids having the time of their life at the camps. If you want to get involved more, reach out to us through the camp Facebook page, Camp Sweet Escape. And then if you want to learn more about the softball game, Sky to Softball G, that's on Twitter and Instagram, Sky to Softball Game on Facebook. And for anybody that enjoys the podcast, the Sky to Softball podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts, and just learn more of the gist of those who have been involved, those, played, supported the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association and the softball game. And like I said, hope to see everybody out there tomorrow night, because I would really, really love to see a crowd on tap.
Book that. Cannot wait. It is going to be a blast. Last question for you, Matthew, and an important one. Number one, will I be escorted off the grounds if I show up in baseball pants? And B, are there jerseys, and what color am I repping? Because Rob Brown, I'm going Griffey Jr. I got to accessorize this a little bit. What color does Rob Brown need to show up rocking tomorrow?
So if I remember correctly, you are on my team, right?
I believe you are correct.
So we kind of changed it up this year. Everybody kind of crucified me for this, or was on me for this, because for a good while we were wearing gray and a mixture of blue, whether it was the New York Mets blue or some, things along that. And then we, with it being in Lancaster, and, Coach Palmer Hudson, who's over at the Lancaster baseball program, his team will be repping the Navy. And then yours truly, our team, Rob, will be repping the Andrew Jackson Volunteers orange.
Wow! I will have you this. I will have everybody notice that Matthew did call it Volunteer orange and not Clemson orange.
Oh no, the Andrew Jackson orange is not Tennessee orange. I will clarify that. Don't put me on the spot. Don't put me on the spot on that, Rob. Because if you look up Andrew Jackson High School colors here in Kershaw, South Carolina, you will see it is more of a darker orange than that Tennessee orange.
The burnt orange. So we're going burnt orange, which means I have to. You know what this means? This means that somewhere tomorrow you will find Rob Brown in an Academy Sports trying to find the burnt orange glove to match the uni.
But I mean, hey, like I said, if you are there, baseball fans, we're just going to probably give you a long look. But I'm saying, hey, he's here to play.
I'm here to play. That's it. Matthew Scott is with the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association. Their 9th annual celebrity softball game is tomorrow in Lancaster at Doomsday Corner, home of the Bruins. There's going to be the Munchie Man food truck, the Rolling Smoke barbecue food truck. There will be kickball for the kids and anyone else that wants to play, a men and women's home derby, a meet and greet. Game starts at 5. I will be there if you want to come watch me humiliate myself. Matthew, my man, great to have you on, Big Dog. Looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be a good time.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me on.
You got it, my man. That is Matthew Scott running the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association celebrity softball game. That is tomorrow. My man, Brandon, #dingers over doubles.
All right, Rob, listen, take some advice from the old guy in the room. Please stretch, okay? Last time,
I will stretch.
Yeah.
The bases for extra base hits, baby.
Spend a minute or two stretching, even if you feel like it's humiliating. Last time I played and we had a softball team here in the building, I tore my hamstring on the very first play. And I made it to first base, by the way. I hit it out almost. It was deep center, almost a home run. And as I'm running to first base, it popped. and it was bad. I mean, he's talking about color.
Let me
I had color right away. It was like blood all down the back of my leg, and I played the rest of the game because I'm stupid. We didn't have enough players, and we would have had a forfeit. So I had the coach at the time, which was a program director, who I so glad he's gone. I said, put me on first base and give me a pinch runner, and I'll play the rest of the game. And it was torn, but not all the way. So I didn't have to have surgery, but I didn't stretch. So make sure you stretch. You have got to stretch, Rob.
Let me go ahead and tell you
I was about your age when I did this, so you need to stretch.
If you come to this game, you are going to notice that Rob Brown is swinging for the fences with every cut. And it's not because I'm a glory hog that wants my name in the paper for multi-HRs. It is because if it goes over the fence, I get to jog. That's the reason.
You should have asked him about the rules for home runs, though.
I know. I'm going to get there tomorrow, and he's going to be like, home runs don't count. That's all right. I'd rather be out.
Some of them, like the first 4 home runs count, and then after that, it counts as an out.
The league I used to play
in
was they had 2 poles in left and right center. Home runs between the poles counted. Home runs to left and right did not. So we'll find out. We'll find out. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a few minutes, John Harkes, head coach of the Greenville Triumph, will be joining us here on the show to talk a little bit about tomorrow night's matchup between the Triumph and the Richmond Kickers with USL League One table playoff positioning on the line. That's next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, stream, be right back. Got to do a live. Hang out, don't go nowhere. All right, kids, we are back.
Here's a tip. Today is the last day of the NBA preseason, and there's been a phenomenal trend that I've been tracking. Since the start of the preseason, NBA underdogs have gone an incredible 27-12 against the spread through the first 9 days. Many of these dogs are winning outright too. With one final full slate of preseason games tonight, there's one last chance for those dogs to bark and make you some money. I'm Tristan Crick, helping you.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs, ensuring everything is game day ready. We see your
Here's the thing, James. I've never seen Rob hit. I've seen him throw the ball. No way he hits over the fence and doesn't watch it. There's no way.
Me? I will be standing there until it lands.
Yeah.
And the bat flip might clear the lights.
And he's going to take a bow and do the Jordan as he's walking around.
The question mark is, what wrestling celly am I going with? Right? Am I throwing up the wolf pack? Am I going to hit the Bobby Lashley? Do I do the Ric Flair slow spin on the way to first? Like, what wrestling celly do I hit?
I think you start out with, you could do one in each leg of your journey. There you go.
That's true. One home to first, one first to second, one second to third, and save the best one for touching the ball. I think I Ric Flair spin on the plate.
Yeah, you got to do that. I think maybe you start out with a little RVD. I mean,
that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that while you're sauntering.
And saunter I shall.
If I were there, which I won't be because I have a show, I would bring people with me to run on the field and run with you on the last leg. Like you just hit, what's that famous home run where the fans got on the field? I would come out there and we would run with you to the last thing, but we can't do that. He's not going to tell you that, Steven, because if he does, he has to do a paparazzi and all that kind of stuff.
Those damn autograph hounds selling my stuff.
I know, right? I know, right? He does it for the kids, not for you adults who are selling those things online.
I will be there between 5:45 and 6. I'll get there about 5:45 to 6. That gives me time to set up and then walk the field a little bit. So if you are going to be there, I will have on the blue Rebel shirt and white baseball cap, and I'll also look like me since you're watching the stream.
Look for Will Wheaton. If you see Will Wheaton,
I will be walking the field probably about 6:30 or so. So if you see me, yell at me. I'll come over and say hi. 100% for sure.
Hi, Rob! You got to do it that way.
All right, we are waiting on John Harkes, head coach of the Greenville Triumph. He will be with us here in just a minute or two. The Triumph finishing up their last training session this AM before they board the bus to head up to Richmond, where they'll take on the Richmond Kickers on Saturday. That game, mucho importante, as the Triumph currently stand, as of right now, at number 2 on the USL League One table. After their win this past Saturday over the Charlotte Independents, they bumped up to 45 points. They cannot take first on the table. Richmond are locked in. They have clinched the regular season points lead at 50. We have 45, which means we can walk out of this weekend with a win with 48. If we get the dub, we will most definitely be second on the table, which would mean that we would host every playoff game with the exception of the championship game, if and only if Richmond does not get bumped between now and that championship game. If Richmond gets bumped in the playoffs before the championship game and the Greenville Triumph were to make it to the championship game, then the USL League One championship game would be played right here in the upstate. So this game against Richmond is an important one. And there is a little bit of luck on our side because Richmond has already clinched, as we mentioned. The regular season title goes to the Kickers. I'm going to ask John Harkes here in a minute when he joins us. I am going to ask him if there is any sort of advantage that comes with that, right? Like if you're Richmond, Do you send out a couple of your reservists? Do you send out the guys that are ordinarily substitutes? Do you give them a starting 11 nod? Let them get out there and get some XP before the playoffs in case they get called into service? And if so, does that help Greenville? Or in Harksy's case, does he roll out his first starting 11 like normal to try to generate the most normal circumstances, the most competitive circumstances he can to build up a run in the playoffs, even though you're already locked in? We will get John Harkes on the stream here in just a moment. Again, I know he was wrapping up training the last time that he texted me and said that he was on his way to his laptop to get locked in. So as soon as Harksy gets on, we will get him up here to talk about it. In the meantime, I will remind you of the poll that we are running right this second. The poll that we are running right now, the question we've asked on Monday's show: if I was going to do a full hour, a full 60 on one topic or the other, would you prefer 60 minutes of local high school football or 60 minutes of MLB playoff baseball? Over the last 30 minutes, on the text line, Major League Baseball has taken a pretty solid size lead. They are now leading 13-6 on the text line. On the Twitter, we have gotten a 13-vote poll so far. So more votes on the text than on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, go to @TheFanUpstate on Twitter, @TheFanUpstate to cast your vote. Major League Playoff Baseball has gotten 8 of the votes. The rest of the votes have gone to local high school football. So it's a little closer on Twitter than on the text line, but we are looking for your answers right now. If I was going to do an hour on either playoff baseball or high school football, which of those two topics would you prefer a full hour of the show on? No fence riding, because I've gotten about 8 texts and tweets so far that have said, oh, I'd prefer half and half, or, oh, do 45 of baseball, 15 of football, do 1 segment of football, 3 of baseball, or whatever. You have the question is, what do you care more about? And you've got to pick one. No fence riding, man.
I'm a little confused here because I have heard tell that you and I only talk NFL football. So how could you talk either one of those?
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now. And I called Diesel out about this on Twitter the other day, right? Those two guys love to paint the picture that we are NFL guys. No. We're football guys. We're football guys. We love football. I didn't take a play-by-play job doing high school football just for the paycheck. I did it because I love football. And if I can get some extra time talking football, I'm going to do it. I'm absolutely going to do it. So that being said, which of those two things would you prefer me to talk more about, right? Let me go find Marcus on the stream said, does the segment have to be an hour? Could you do like 20 minutes of high school and 40 minutes of baseball? No, you got to pick one or the other. If I was doing 1 hour of the show dedicated to one or the other, which would you rather it be? And right now, Major League Baseball is leading on both the Twitter poll and the text poll.
See, this is one of those polls. You've written it in such a way, you've skewed it in a way to where it's going to go your way no matter what. And I guess it's admirable in some way because you're able to manipulate. But because it started out as a segment, then you turned it into an entire hour.
Because
it's
there's higher stakes.
No. It's easier to vote on a segment than it is an hour, because then you're committing to one segment. So you're either getting this or this. You're not going to do an entire hour. So you would do a segment.
Right. It's a hypothetical, but that's how we argue.
But you are
you
are painting it in a way like this is something that's going to happen one way or the other.
Right. I am asking if this way, it's not going to happen. I don't do an hour on any one topic.
Right. So because of that,
you would have to pick that you
except for hot dogs.
Except for hot dogs.
Yeah,
that's not on me. That's on you. That's on you guys. That's on y'all. If I was going to pick one, which one would it be? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring on to this. My goodness, would you look at this? We get Not only is John Harks, the head coach of the Greenville Triumph, joined us here on the stream, but Chris Lewis, the president of the club. Boys, I feel like I just hit the lottery. What's happening, fellas?
We just, we thought about it, Rob, last night, and we were like, what can we do? Because Rob gives so much to our club and to everything and advertisement. Can we, just get together and just be a 2-for-1 sale right now on a Friday afternoon before the last regular home away game? And so Chris was like, yeah. And he wrote a few scripts. So we want to go through it with you.
Nice. We get a little jingle and everything, Chris Lewis.
We thought this was the next best thing to giving you a raise.
I'll take it. Listen, I'll take it. I would like, my guys, I appreciate it. I will also tell you that I do have to thank you, Chris, because with the sale that you guys ran at the merch store last Friday, about half of my last paycheck ended up with the Greenville Triumph. So I will take that raise. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Yeah, quite often. Hey, Rob, quite often I'm doing the same. You're crazy.
Yeah.
I owe him so much, and bottle of wine. Here you go.
Love it. I love it. John Harks and Chris Lewis joining us here on the show. Let's start with this. Harksy, I'll ask you this question because this conversation got going on our text machine earlier when we talked about it. And the question was this: Richmond is locked in first place in the USL League One regular season. If they make the championship, it would be in Richmond. But obviously that impacts us with Richmond being our opponent this weekend. If you're in that position, are you bringing out your starting 11 and making it feel like, you playing it like every other game before they got clinched? Are you bringing in reservists? And I guess I'm asking the question, is Greenville going to see the best version of Richmond on Saturday, knowing how incredibly important these 3 points would be for us and our ability to lock in that second place?
Yeah, I actually, the way you just summed it up there, Rob, I think we are going to see the best Richmond side. Look, there's pride, for sure, that's on the table. We have beaten them twice this year. We've taken 6 points off of them in 2 games and home and away. And they want to finish their last home game on a positive note. They want to keep that continuity, that kind of winning spirit. So I don't see them resting players, to be honest with you. We're prepared for a number of scenarios, but I see them coming after us as hard as they can.
And so what does that mean? What's this game look like for you guys? Like you mentioned, we've actually done well against Richmond in the regular season, but we've got to go to their house. And we know that, the Richmond fans are every bit as passionate as the Greenville fans, and they're coming out to celebrate a little bit. So is there a little extra mental preparation into preparing yourself for the environment that goes into this match?
We talk about it. I think what our guys have been through throughout the whole year, Rob, we're at a point now where they've built up the resilience. If you asked me the same question 2 months ago, it would probably be a different answer. And so that was a process that we went through. Coming into City Stadium, great atmosphere, great environment. As you said, the fans are amazing. They've been there from day one with that club. It's the oldest historic USL team in the country, Richmond. And so, look, there's a lot going for them, and it's I anticipate a very full crowd and a loud crowd. And so from the mentality side of it, I think our guys are up for it, Rob, without a doubt. Actually, I know they are. They love the challenge, and we actually love going into that stadium and competing. So we feel like the guys are ready.
Chris, let me ask you, as far as your interaction with both club and the front office, now that we have hit, this game becomes, I think, maybe the biggest game of the year so far. Last week against Charlotte was incredibly important, obviously, but getting these 3 would be big. As a club as a whole, how do you make sure that everybody's head is towards the same goal of getting these 3 and really kind of building that momentum before we go to the playoffs, especially when you've kind of got a hat in both worlds?
I'll start with the front office part. Everybody there is pulling for the same thing, which, everybody who's been with the club wants another ring. They want to go through that whole process and do that all over again. And they know that, realistically, Saturday is tomorrow's the first step in that process. There's planning that has to go on. We have to be ready. We have to be ready for different scenarios. We have to be ready if we're going to play next Saturday. We have to be ready if we're going to have a bye next Saturday and play the following Saturday. Have our ticket pricing ready. Be communicating with, with our season ticket members and as well as with the greater upstate community as a whole. So it's, for us, it's kind of the same process in terms of planning and getting ready for a home match. However, one of the things that I've kind of preached to our front office staff from day one is you work the regular season for the privilege and ability to be able to be a part of a playoff run. So everybody's amped up for that. On the player side of things, I think I've mentioned before, I meet with our leadership group, each month, and just met with those guys not too long ago. And we talked about this a little bit. And I said, you're going to hear one thing from John, but with me, I'm going to be a little more direct with you. I said, we have our best scenario in our control. So don't it up and, do what we need to do. Get 3 points, get us that bye. Let us get some guys a little more rest. Let the bumps and bruises kind of work themselves out and go.
Chris Lewis, president of the Greenville Triumph, John Harkes, head coach. Harksey, let's talk about the last couple of matches, because I know there's been, you hate to say there's been some disappointing draws, but a couple of games maybe a little closer than we like, a couple of really good draws too. But last Saturday, last home game, big win over Charlotte, a team that had given us some trouble earlier in the season. How big was it to be able to finish that one, to get those 3 points and to move us that much closer to locking in that 2 seed? How much momentum did that give you and the boys to roll into Richmond?
A huge amount of momentum, actually. And it was, you could see it coming, Rob. You and I had talked about it, weeks prior. And there was that kind of belief that was there, that like, okay, we're building it up. And some of those tough draws along the way, we were always walking away from that. Okay, what did we learn about ourselves? What did that teach us? And it taught us like, hey, we've got to close out games and we can't concede. And that's exactly the way we applied that type of attitude, that approach to, Charlotte. And like you said, Charlotte FC, they threw everything at us. They, they're bringing 2 players from the first team, Charlotte FC in Major League Soccer. So you look at the Independence roster and you're thinking to yourself, okay, we're not sure what it's going to look like on the given day, but at least we had those discussions and we're prepared of who's going to be out in the field. So guys played well. Look, I think I would have liked to have had a little bit more possession in the game, a little bit more control. But having said that, the way we scored the goal was absolutely fantastic. And it comes from the training ground. It's just that circulation of the ball, the patience, and then that clip in the box. And there's Labovitz. He's been starving for a goal. When strikers get on that empty, can't find the back of the net kind of, week after week kind of feeling, he really – you could see it in celebration. It was like so much just poured out, emotion and everything else.
Celebration and relief at the same time.
It was like a 1980 celebration where he was running with his hands up. And so I was happy for him. I really was. But I was happy for our club. And, we've been through quite a bit. But to get that home advantage was fantastic. Now, look, win or lose or draw on Saturday, we know we have a home game. Do we want the bye? Absolutely we do. We want to finish second. So that's what we're doing. That's our agenda. That's our game plan. And that's how we're preparing to go up to City Stadium tomorrow.
Chris, let me ask you this from the perspective of somebody not on the coaching staff, but obviously really into the team. And I'm really asking to kind of gauge where I was at. And Harksey and I talked about this a little bit last week. What has impressed me has been that despite not grabbing goals in some opportunities we've wanted, this team is very head forward and have been creative and have just been waiting on the finishes to come. How much relief was there for you? Because I saw you standing down there looking next to Harkes. I thought you were maybe picking up an assistant coaching gig to add onto the table there. To see that finish and to get that 3 points, did you feel the same relief that we up in 110 felt when that clock hit that 90th minute?
Absolutely. And given some of the things you mentioned before, Rob, where we had, there were 2 matches that when I met with the guys, I pointed out to them where we left 2 points per match on the field. That would have been helpful, but you move forward. The nice thing with this group is they don't dwell. They we have a veteran leadership group. They're pros, and they move on to the next. And John and his staff does a great job of making sure that everybody's moving on to the next. So yeah, it was when Labo knocked that ball in off his head. It was great because that put us in position to control our own destiny. And sure, do you want to finish first all the time? Of course we do. I mean, to some degree, you could say that's the standard that's set for this club. But as I said to some of the guys yesterday, we control what our best possible outcome can be. So let's go and execute and do it.
Chris Lewis is the president of the Greenville Triumph. John Harkes is the head coach. The Triumph are on the road at Richmond Kickers, and a dub on Saturday would lock us into the 2 seed, get us a first-round bye, and at least a playoff game at home. Harksey, my man, have a safe trip. Chris, we appreciate both of you guys. Thank you all.
Yeah, Rob, and thanks for pushing me really hard last week to guarantee the dub for Gio on his birthday. I know he was very happy about that.
I will tell you, I was about 3 rows behind Gio, and he, along with the rest of us, lost our freaking minds with the knowledge that we were that much closer to a home playoff game. We've got a little bit more in us, Coach, to give in 110, so we're going to need you to go ahead and bring us one more back.
I got you, man. We got it sorted out. We'll get it done.
Love it. John Harkes, Chris Lewis, fellas, good luck on the road Saturday. We will talk to you next week when we figure out the playoff spot.
All right, guys. Thanks, man.
There you go. John Harkes, Chris Lewis. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back short segment. And then because we went late on that one, Kevin and Jarrell are going to join us at 11. We'll do a quick rundown of the high school football playoff schedule. Then the second segment in the next hour, Lonzo and I will make our Boo Box Bets picks. Cannot wait. Lonzo is hype. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, Kev, we're going to bring you and Jarrell on at 11 if that works. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Outstanding. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Stick around.
No, man. I'm leaving. No.
All right, be right back, stream. Kevin, you talk a little Braves baseball with me right here for just a minute?
Sure thing.
Let's go.
You excited
His
for Strider
computer's
on the hill
slow.
today?
Yeah, just announced it. That's what made me think of it. I'm like, well, let me bring Kev on real quick.
It's like Max Headroom, but you don't know who that
Well,
is.
yes,
Do you
I
know
do.
Max?
Yes, I do.
Not everyone knows who Max Headroom is. he was very niche back when he was actually on. So I mentioned it to Tim because he put together a video. I was like, okay, you made him look a little bit like Max Headroom. And he just looked at me like, what's that? It's like, okay. But he also has never seen Princess Bride. So, I mean, what do you expect? Yeah, I know.
My mom just watched The Princess Bride for the first time like 3 weeks ago. And she texted me after and she's like, I get it now. I'm like, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Speaking of rodents of unusual size, remember what I sent you.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what it was. All right, short segment here. We're going to bring on Kevin and Jarrell in the next segment to talk a little high school football. But Braves, Phillies today going just after 4 p.m. and literally just came across the beeper that Spencer Strider, the hurler, rookie of the year as far as I'm concerned, coming off the oblique strain, is going to get the start today. Kevin coming in just a bit early because he's a Braves guy too. Charlie Morton was the other option for us, Kevin. I had planned to bring this up on the show today. Good decision to start Spencer off the injury, or would you have rather ground ball Chuck to get the start?
Man, that's a tough call. You know, it all depends on obviously how healthy Spencer is. Like when he was pitching, could have been arguably our ace, not a 3 guy, not a 4 guy, the best guy we had on our staff. So if he's anywhere close to that, if he can give us 5 strong innings, I think it's a good call to go with Strider today.
Yeah, I like it too. I like it. Look, worst case scenario, Spencer goes out there coming off the oblique strain, hasn't thrown in 3 weeks now. Worst case, he has a bad outing. The pen was good the other night against Philly. So I think you trust them to do the same thing if they got to go a little bit deeper into the game than they did in game 2. At the end of the day, Kev, the really only thing that matters here is the Braves bats have got to wake up. I do not want to get into another 2-1, 3-0 baseball game where we got to play clutch deep. Key to the Braves today, put 4, 5, 6 up early, take the Phillies crowd out of it, and that way we don't have to rely on the pen. We can just rely on the bats, which we did all year. Man, Matt Olson, I was hoping broke out of that slump with that bottom of the night dinger he hit in game 1. Need the Braves bats to be hot tonight.
Yeah, you know, we've been too good all year. You can't expect us to stay scoring 1 or 2 a game here. I think, Nola's a great pitcher, so he's going to make it tough on us, of course. But after that, the Phillies, their bullpen's getting taxed. They've had to throw a lot of innings already. After him, we got a really good shot. Yeah, like you said, Rob, if we can come out early here, this is a chance to take a lead in the series here.
I love it. Kevin is joining us here. He's going to be back along with Jarrell in the next segment to talk a little high school football on the program. We're running down the Friday night schedule, but for now talking Braves Phillies, game number 3 at Philadelphia. And look, the Phillies fans have not seen their team play in 2 weeks. Philly is Sports City, USA right now. The Eagles are 5-0. The Sixers have not just playoff aspirations, but with Simmons and the gang, expectations of a title this year. And the Phillies not only swept the Cardinals in the wild card round, but then came to Atlanta and took one. Kmart, that place is going to be absolutely freaking popping off tonight. I think if you're the Braves, you got to have some mental fortitude. You cannot let, especially Spencer Strider, cannot let the crowd get in your head, or it might be a long night.
It's going to be a wild scene. No doubt. Like I said, they haven't had a home game in forever in the playoffs there. Luckily for the Braves, I think the afternoon start helps a little bit. A nighttime game, I think we even more raucous crowd there. The afternoon, I think, leans in the Braves' favor. But like you said, if they can just get a couple runs early, quiet them down a little bit, would be a huge piece of the action.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we will run over the high school football schedule throughout the upstate, give you some winners and losers in that one. Next segment, Boo Box Bets. Lonzo and I go back for punishment one more time again. We got 5 college games and 5 NFL games to pick. All of that coming up next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Is Jarrell coming back, buddy?
He should be. Yeah, I'll call him right now. Make sure he's in here.
Say that again. I cut you off. Is he coming back?
Yeah, he should be. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. He cut out. He said, I got stuff to do. I can't wait on this loser.
What was the bet today? Who's getting punished?
No one yet.
No one yet. We make our picks. We find out who gets punished on Monday. Lonzo has given. We've had a push in 2 consecutive weeks. We both went 5-5 last week and 6-4 the week before that.
Okay.
And there was a week of me being on vacation, so there's been 3 weeks without punishment.
We didn't make picks that week.
No, what I'm saying is,
oh, gotcha.
I've been free of
since anybody punished.
I've been free of punishment for 3 weeks.
For a month. Got to get off that streak. I am going to ask Kev because I think he's uniquely qualified to give us an opinion on this.
Oh, here we go. No, he's not.
All right,
Kevin.
Yes,
Kevin's your guy though. He's going to go with you. He's
job
going to go with you.
Literally high school football.
Yeah,
it's his job.
I'm okay. All right.
So
fine.
here was the back in the first hour, Kev. We had this discussion. I'll bring Jarrell in here for this too. All right, back in the first hour of the show, we had a conversation where I said that more people care about playoff baseball than high school football across the upstate. And so I phrased the poll question this way. If on Monday I was going to dedicate a full hour of the show to one topic or the other, and you can only pick one, would you rather listen to a full hour of playoff baseball talk or a full hour of high school football recap?
I think the key to the whole thing is, are the Braves still in the playoffs? I think if the Braves are out, I think high school football might trump it. But if the Braves are in it, then I think it's baseball.
Okay. Jarrell.
Oh, yeah. I got to agree with Kevin there. It's strictly based on the Braves.
So if the Braves are in it, baseball wins. If the Braves are not in it, high school football wins.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think that's wrong.
Lock it in.
Now, if it's like the World Series, if it's 2 big market teams in the World Series, like it's Yankees and Dodgers or whatever, maybe. Because you get a lot of Yankees fans no matter where you're going. I'm changing the Red Sox, but
all right, let's say we end up here. Let's put a hypothetical out there to test that parameter.
Let's continue to change the question until it goes more towards the way that you want to.
I'm about to make it worse for the baseball argument and see if it still holds. All right, I'm gonna make it worse.
I'll believe it when I hear it.
If the World Series ended up being Astros versus Padres, right? The most disliked team in Major League Baseball outside of the Yankees, and while it's not a small market team, a left coast team that does have zero play around here. If the World Series was Astros v Padres, do you think baseball wins it still, or is it high school football?
I think probably football at that point.
Yeah,
gotta be football.
I don't know that that's wrong, and I do think that the biggest help for me on the baseball side of this argument is the Braves still being alive.
Yeah.
Where does baseball rank in, pro sports these days as far as interest?
4th, barely ahead of soccer.
Yeah. I mean,
no. I'm going to say NFL. If we were talking pro sports,
yeah, just pro.
I'm going to say NFL is a far and away number 1. I'm going to say NBA is 2. I'm going to say baseball's 3. I'm going to say hockey is 4, and I'm going to say MLS is 5.
I like that.
See, I would put UFC before
MLB. I think UFC does really good numbers, but I think it's still really niche.
Yeah.
I think you can fill up a bar with UFC.
By the way, I'm a baseball hater, so I've
sure.
I've already put
He's honest about it. I respect that.
Yeah, I honestly think in the next couple of years, I think MLS is going to jump both hockey and baseball.
I don't know. They will jump NHL. I already see that coming. The writing's on the wall. The fact that Charlotte, which is notoriously not a great sports city, is bringing close to $40K a game in for Charlotte, even on weekday games. MLS will jump NHL if it hasn't already. To be honest with you, I think baseball could be in sight, but I think it would if we have a great World Cup showing, like if we were to make it to a quarter or semifinal in the World Cup, I think it would take a huge step forward. I think soccer's popularity is entirely predicated on success, right? Like when A team gets hot, all of a sudden that community is like the Greenville Triumph going to 3 straight USL championships has helped their growth in this city enormously. If we had a team like Charlotte Independence that were always second or third from the bottom of the table, I don't think it would be the same way. And I think that's all the way to top, right? Like women's soccer for a hot minute there was one of the hottest topics you can get into, but that was only because we were kicking everybody's behind every single week. Now that the rest of the world is kind of caught up to us and we're not dominating everybody all the time, women's soccer is a hard sell as a discussion topic on the show now.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with that.
All right, boys, let's talk a little football. Here we go.
Good.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, on the other side of the metaphorical glass today. What were you going to say? What were you going to jump in there with?
I got caught. So, I mean, you know, it's not usual that you're actually alert enough to see me get ready to do something. So
Well,
I was just going to point out that Boo Box is going to be canceled
No, son.
because this next segment is going to be awesome. And it's going to prove it's going to prove my point from earlier because we're getting ready to talk high school football,
We are.
and it's going to go a little bit longer as it will do because we have a little more time for them to be on as opposed to being near the end of the hour. So you're going to be able to expand a little bit more.
And
Then we're going to then the clock is going to catch us. Then no Boo Box bets this week, so I don't have to worry about losing. That's all I was going to point.
Lonzo is 0-3-2 in Boo Box bets so far. Rob Brown is 3-0-2 with 3 wins and a pair of pushes. But Lonzo has pushed me the last 2 times out. He's ever so closely inching on to his first win.
I don't push anyone. I'm a pacifist.
But he draws. He gets the draw. All right, let's talk a little bit of high school football. Take a look around the schedule this evening for the high school level. We are joined now on the program by a host of the Moving the Chains podcast. You can find their website at movingchains.com and find them across social media at Moving Chains. No G in that, at Moving Chains on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. And you can pick up their podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, etc., etc. We've got Kevin Thomas. We've got Jarrell Hendricks joining us here on the show. What's up, boys?
Rob, great to be here again, buddy. I missed you last week.
I know you were off playing whatever you were playing. Kevin was like, "Oh yeah, I could do the show, but I think I'm just going to go play some golf instead," which is it's good for the brand, Kev. Good for the brand.
It is. I won some money. It was a great weekend, man. It was good times.
Love it. Jarrell, how did it feel not only having to set the bar for excellence amongst the Moving the Chains crew, but also on top of picking up the excellence, picking up Kev's slack as well?
Hey, somebody's got to do it, and I'm the man for the job, I guess. And, it feels good. It's region play time, so I'm here called up from the JV in case somebody gets injured. So I'm always ready to go.
Kev didn't get injured. Kev just braided his way into a day off. That's all. That was all. All right, fellas, let's jump into this, and let's start as we always do with a game that I will have the call on tonight, a 6-2 Burns team who lost to West Florence on the other side of the state in a spectacular game, but with a vastly depleted roster. They also took loss number 2 when they went to Spartanburg and took on what I think is a very, very talented Viking offense. Tonight, they're on the road. They are at Dorman. Burns coming off a 30-7 win over Boiling Springs, but they went from being depleted at linebacker to being busted up at running back. We do not know the status of RJ Livingston. Got taken off the field in the Spartanburg game with a concussion. Cameron Prysock, though, last week, the 3rd-string RB, really 4th-string RB without Mack on the roster, had him a pretty good game. Dorman, on the other hand, was in a freaking fist fight last Friday night against Malden. They gutted it out. They were down 12 at the half, came back and won 13-12. And all of the sudden, this game looks maybe a little more interesting than a lot of folks thought it would have 2 weeks ago, Kev.
Yeah, this game is always fun, always tight when these two get together. Big region matchup here. Dorman, I was very surprised with the performance last week. I've been high on them all year. A Malden team that I think had lost 5 games in a row gave them all they could handle. They've got the big guys up front with Geffen Anderson, Darius Foster, DJ Porter running the ball. They're going to try to run it down your throat. So Burns is going to need to get some help back on the defensive side of the ball. But kind of a cool storyline here, Rob. First-year head coach Dustin Curtis at Dorman actually coached under Burns head coach Reggie Shaw at AC4. So going up against his old boss would be fun. But, Burns has got to find a way to stop that running game as a key for their success tonight.
Jarrell, break this one down for me.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's just like Kevin said. It's like they have got to be able to stop the run. You're getting healthy at linebacker, so that's going to be a big help. That was a surprising game last week with Malden, so it showed maybe some chinks in the armor there at Dorman. They're not completely invincible, but I like to say it's hard for these teams to get up every week. Burns just can't get rid of the injury bug. Hopefully they've got guys healthy. This is going to be like a rivalry game here, so I think it's going to be a good one at Dorman tonight.
We talked about Burns last week, a lot of injuries at the running back spot. They started to get the linebackers healthy. Deshaun Briggs has come back from a rolled ankle that he re-rolled the week before in the Spartanburg game. 9 guys out with the flu last week, including Armani Weaver, who has really been kind of the deep ball threat. They should have those guys back. So it's not just a Burns team that had a convincing win over Boiling Springs last week, but a team that's much more healthy. You mentioned Malden. Everything they wanted did Dorman get from the Mavs. Man, I got to tell you, I get hyped being able to be the play-by-play guy about every Burns game. I have not been to Dorman yet. I've heard the facilities are going to blow me away, but this game to me is the first game in a minute that I'm like, dude, can we end the show and start this football game?
Yeah, this is a huge game. Because Burns has to have it if they don't have any chance to get a home playoff game. If you go 1-2 in the region here or not, you're pretty much out of the 1 or 2 seed. They've got to win this ball game. Dorman, they showed some chinks, like Terrell said. Malden ran the ball. I think their running back had 230 plus against them last week. So you can maybe have success on the ground there. But I think it comes back to you got to find some way to get Kai Cook and Beaumont and Weaver to bust a big play. 1 or 2, if not more than that. They're going to need some explosive plays outside, but the Rebels have a chance for sure, but I think Dorman is the favorite at home.
Yeah, we were able to go over there, a few weeks ago when they played River Bluff. There's also some opportunities for Burns to get some things going in the pass game. Behind their quarterback, Murray, at River Bluff, they just had some issues with receivers dropping passes, so they had some chances for some explosive plays. Again, Dorman is a run-first team, so they can start slow. So this gives some opportunities for the Rebels. But unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with the Cavaliers tonight.
All right, let's switch it up. Hillcrest at TL Hanna, 1 loss between both of these teams. Hillcrest, Kev, I think you called them a couple of weeks ago, kind of a dark horse is being labeled maybe the best team in the state, but TL Hanna has been in some scraps and found ways to win almost all of them. I got to tell you, I'll be calling the Burns game, but I'm going to have the score update on the fanupstate.com giving me the score of this one all night. This one could get good.
Yeah, this is probably the region championship in that region, honestly. Both teams have played very well. TL Hanna, the one weird loss early in the year to Westside that nobody really saw coming there. With Hillcrest, the playmakers' names, Bennett Judy, Logan Coldren, Avery McFadden, Jalen Neal, Robinson, Jones, and Holiday on defense. TL Hanna has thrown it a little bit more this year than they typically do in that wing tee with Kenny Fretwell there. Latimer and Bowles running the ball. But that, my key for TL Hanna always, Rob, is they're not built to come from behind. That wing tee is not a catch-up offense. They need to get a lead. And that's a problem against Hillcrest. In the first quarter, Hillcrest is outscoring opponents 98-7 this year. In the third quarter, outscoring opponents 93-7. So they start hot out of the gate. They also make great adjustments at halftime. I think the Rams get out to a lead here early, and I think that's all she wrote for this ball game.
Jarrell, he gave us those stats there and those scores. And, with a lot of teams, you'll see that where if they can put up big first and third quarter points, they don't really need to score a ton of points in the second quarter or at the end of the game. Is that the case with Hillcrest, or is it, like Kev said, they're just a quick start, slow finish?
I don't think they can rely on that in this particular game because of the magnitude of it. And then TL Hanna's a program that just knows how to win. So they're not going to be intimidated. They've kind of been around the block a few times. So if they get behind in those first and third quarter, situations, I don't think they're going to panic. We saw it last week against JL Man when they were able to come back and win that game in overtime. But going back to Kev's original point of this being the region championship, it's even bigger than that because the way the bracket sets up, this is the number 1 seed in the upper state, so you get home playoff advantage through the first 3 rounds. So this is a huge, huge game for Hillcrest and TL Hanna. But like Kev said, I think that the Rams are a little bit better, and they're going to win this game.
All right, let's move on to Daniel at Seneca. Daniel's 7-0. Seneca is 6-1. Daniel last week, 76 points on the scoreboard, but Seneca, no joke either, with 51-14 win over Pendleton. Break this one down for me, Kmart.
This is a game, the records look great, but I don't think it's going to be close. Daniel is, I think, far and away the best team in that region. Seneca has played some good ball behind Evanston and Burnett there on that side of them, but their one loss to St. Joe's, and Daniel's a lot better than St. Joe's. Blaine Simon's completing about 75% of his passes this year. He's played great for them. Wide receivers Eli Murk, Jalen Brown Wallace, Myson Kelly are doing a great job. Daniel has just got too much firepower. This game will probably be out of hand by halftime, honestly.
Yeah, I wish Kevin wasn't so good at this because he's totally right there. It's a game that looks much better on paper than I think it's actually going to be. We just keep yearning for someone to challenge Daniel in like that Western 3A, that Region 1 and 3A, and it's really not going to happen tonight. It's a good story for Seneca. They're playing some really good ball, and that was an impressive win over Pendleton last week. But the Daniel Lions are just so loaded. They do this every year. They kind of just go through the playoffs and just, through the region slate, destroy everybody, get to the playoffs and be like, oh, they may be vulnerable. And it just doesn't happen. Daniel's just too good here.
All right, let's get to a couple of other ones that are on the roster. Lawrence at Wade Hampton. The Raiders have played a little bit better the last couple of weeks, but Wade Hampton has got a lot on the line with a chance for a home playoff game. Jarrell, kick this one off so you can take the wind out of Kevin's sails for once.
Yeah, and what was that game again? I'm sorry, I was looking at my notes.
Lawrence at Wade Hampton. I gave you a chance. Jarrell, and you fumbled on the goal line, man.
Yeah, this is actually an intriguing matchup, man. With Wade Hampton being a good story coming into it, Lawrence is a team that we were really high on going into the season behind the quarterback there that unfortunately went down to injury. This is going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be a situation where, this is probably going to be for the 3 seed. Lawrence had a game last week that they let get away playing Riverside, where they were probably going to contend for the region championship. It's an interesting matchup, but I'm going to go for the semi-upset here. I think the Generals are going to be able to win this game.
Yeah, I agree. Cooper's Tankersley, Nigel Brewster doing a great job on offense there for those guys. Coach Miller has the Generals playing some good ball this year after a lot of down years. I think, basically if they win this game, I think that kind of pumps these kids up a little bit. I think they get a W over at home tonight.
West Side at Greenwood. One of my favorite things in boxing, one of my favorite things in MMA is when you get two cats that have drastically opposing styles, right? When you get the big brawler who just wants to swing like a bar fight versus a tactical precision fighter who's looking to land fewer shots but high quality, to watch those guys try to adapt. You've got West Side at Greenwood, which is a wide open 5-wide air raid versus an old school wing T running attack. Break that one down for me, Jarrell.
Yeah, going down to the BAB here. Gotta love these contrasting styles between these two teams. But I like West Side in this game just because they air it out. And I'm a big fan of airing the football out and making those big plays. The issues with West Side is that defense. They got destroyed by Greenville in what we thought was the de facto region championship a couple weeks ago. So you got to be a little nervous about their tackling there, especially with V. Morton at the running back spot for Greenwood. But I like Westside to win this game.
It's an interesting matchup. You know, Drew mentioned that Greenville game that John and I went to 2 weeks ago. Westside's tackling was awful. It just terrible. But then you look back at Westside's big win this year against the TL Hanna team that runs a wing tee similar to Greenwood. So maybe they've got something, you know, against that defense. They just know what they're doing. I don't know. Greenwood has played a lot better the last couple weeks with B. Morton back. Kind of, he's their catalyst up front or running the ball for those guys. Caleb Burton's playing better for them. I'm looking for a lot of points in this matchup. I don't think either defense can stop the other. I think we're thinking in the 40s probably. I like Greenwood at home here just because they're at home pretty much. It should be a really close, exciting ball game.
All right, last one, Kevin. JL Man at Malden. JL Man lost a tough one last week, but the offense was putting up numbers. The Mavs, on the other hand, struggled out of the gate. But last week, I mean, I think a lot of us expected Dorman to kind of blow the doors off, and they gave the Cavs all they wanted. Give me a thought on this one.
Another crucial region matchup. You know, these two teams are kind of fighting to make sure they get into the playoffs. So whichever one of these wins this ball game is pretty much locked into a spot there, not going to miss it. So tight game here. I like JL Man's offense a little bit better with Ethan Anderson, Toby Cates, Michael McClellan, those guys there. But Malden under Coach Naismith, they're trying to figure something out with Devin Ortega at running back there. Great defensive performances the last few weeks against TL Hanna and then Dorman last week. I still think JL Man, Coach Scoot Watson, they get a W on the road, but it should be a good ball game over there at Freedom Field.
Yeah, and I love what Scoot Watson's doing at JL Man. I think he's doing a great job in building this program. Both of these teams coming off those tough losses last week. But I think the Patriots are going to get it done. Malden just cannot find a way to win this season. I think they're going to lose I think it's going to be their 7th loss in a row. The Patriots are going to win this one and get in the playoffs.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The boys from the Moving the Chains podcast. You can find their website at movingchains.com. No G. Find them on Facebook. Find them on Instagram. Find them on Twitter at the same handle at Moving Chains. And their podcast available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. And don't forget, on Friday nights, the Twitter Spaces that they host, where they go around the state and give you high school scores from everywhere. And one of the cool things about that, you get players, you get coaches, you get fans that stop by and come on. Occasionally, the devilishly handsome play-by-play broadcasters of some local teams will step in as well. Boys, I'll see you on the Twitter Spaces tonight.
I'm excited, man. Looking forward to hearing a recap from that Burns-Dorman game. Should be a really good one for sure.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to you getting in. Hopefully we don't have technical difficulties like last week, but we should be good to go.
They call me a technical difficulty sometimes. Jarrell, Kevin, appreciate you, boys. We'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
You got it. There you go. Kevin Thomas, Jarrell Hendricks from the Moving the Chains podcast joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. Let's take a break. And look at that, Lonzo. We got all the time we need.
It's almost as if someone used psychology to keep us on the clock.
Is that what it was?
Almost.
Smart guy. Clever girl. Let's take a break. When we come back, it's from Jurassic Park. When we come back, it's Boo Box Bets time. Lonzo and I have 5 college games, 5 NFL games. We pick them against the spread. Whoever picks worst picks a punishment on Monday. That's next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
You haven't sent me your picks.
Oh, let me do that. Sorry. I haven't looked at them since I made them.
That's not Rob Brown. You're Rob Brown.
Well, there ain't no rest for the wicked, and money don't grow on trees. Oh, do I have the? Okay, I got the picking quarter over here.
That daggum picking quarter.
Saturday, sunshine, high 79. And Sunday, plenty of blue skies and sun around 80.
I don't wanna.
Currently, it's 62.
So this line of Clemson and Florida State, Clemson favored by 3.5 points, is some sort of Vegas prank. It doesn't make any sense at all. Look, folks, I know transitive property isn't perfect, but in the last 19 days, Clemson has beaten North Carolina State in Wake Forest, and Florida State has lost to North Carolina State.
Wow, do I take risks? My brain is trying to tell me to take some risks.
I like it. I like it.
Of course you do, because
I like it.
risk from me means I lose again.
Not necessarily. We picked all 5 NFL games the same last week, and I thought I was taking risk.
How well did we do in the NFL?
We were 2-3 in college, 3-2 in the NFL.
Okay.
We both went above 500 in the NFL last week.
All right. I'm not sure how I can pick a college game and all we talk about is NFL. That's never going to die. Never going to die. No, Steven, I don't. And how do you know he hasn't had one yet? Oh, the bots just left. Imagine that. No,
Rob's rookie stomach to the upset. I have already. Do you understand
that's
how
why
many cheeseburgers I've eaten?
from
the Beacon yet.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, is that a different? Is that like a special one?
Yeah,
Okay.
you've lived here nearly 3 years and you don't know of the Beacon?
I have been to Spartanburg twice. There's very few days where I'm like, I've got enough free time to go to Spartanburg.
You've been to Spartanburg more than twice, but I'm not trying to be corrective. But unless you're counting the Wofford visits,
No, I don't count those. I'm talking like
That's-
downtown Spartanburg.
yeah,
like
but you're-
Spartanburg.
you're.
I've been to Wofford.
I was gonna say you're
twice.
nearly in downtown Spartanburg when you're at Wofford.
I have not gone to Spartanburg in order to
Go to
enjoy
the-
Spartanburg.
Is there such a thing? I mean, maybe there is.
Wow.
I've been there a bunch, not lately though. Only go there when I get paid to go there. I'm just messing. I just don't go anywhere. So I mean, I can say that. First time we went to the Beacon was after a softball game, and I knew my daughter didn't know about the guy who calls out the orders. There's a guy who calls out the orders. Not the same guy it used to be. I guess there's still a guy there that when you give him the order, he calls it out. He will yell it out.
Okay.
Yeah. She didn't know. It was great standing next to her because I did know. Scared her half to
Does he
death.
like yell it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the old guy, and I'm pretty sure it's not the same guy. I think that guy passed away. He would rival you. I mean, he has some pipes, man. And it's not that constant thing. It's just a sudden thing. And then call it afterwards. It's just, we talk CFL at about 12:22, I think it is.
Canadian Football League?
I was answering a question.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, 12:30. I need a third monitor just to leave the stream on. I don't have enough monitors. You think I can Chris to give me another monitor in here?
Why not? He ain't got nothing else to do.
I need a 6 monitor setup here.
Good luck turning your mic on and off if you have that, though.
It's Friday, and you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for us to make our Boo Box Bets selections. There are 5 college games. There are 5 professional games. Lonzo and I pick them against the spread. Whoever picks fewer winners on Monday will reach into their Boo Box and draw out a punishment. So far, the only one who has had to do that is the great one. Lonzo has gone 0-3-2 in the 5 weeks we have done this. Rob Brown has gone 3-2. 0-2 in the 5 weeks that we have done this. Lonzo looking for his first win, but it has been over a month since he drew his last punishment.
Rob Brown, professional bettor, going up against amateur Lonzo.
You've almost had the last 2 weeks. You almost had me. The last two. Let's be real. Last Saturday, you made the mistake, which you almost always pick the Carolina teams, and you didn't do it for the first time. And I needed both Clemson and South Carolina to cover, and they did. Thank you very much.
Here's the reason why. The real reason why I didn't do it, because Rob is visibly and audibly trying to tank, because he doesn't want this thing to end. And I can see that he's tanking. So if he goes that way,
Sir,
I'm like, he doesn't really believe this. So I'm going to have to go the opposite way.
You could not be more wrong.
I've tried many different formulae, and none of them have worked for me.
I don't think you understand how much I do not want to do that one thing that you guys made the most recent addition to the Boo Box.
That'd be a shame if you actually had to pick out of the box and that was the only thing in there.
Anyway, all right. We got 5 college games. We got 5 pro games. Lonzo, heads or tails?
Tails.
It is tails. Would you like to defer or would you like to receive in the first half? You going first or second?
What? I'm going second.
You're going second. So I will open it up with Penn State at Michigan. The Wolverines are -7 in this one. So they've got to win by 7 or better, but the opportunity here is for the push at this point. It is for the push. I actually think this could be a lower scoring game. I think there is a chance that this one might hit the under as opposed to the over, which is only set at 51.5. It's really not that big of an over-under. So I think this one could very well hit the under. If it hits the under, it very much goes Penn State's way. They want this to be a lower scoring game. That being said, Michigan relies on 2 different playmakers more than I think any other team inside the top 5. But those playmakers are really, really good. This is one of the picks I am least confident in amongst our 10, but I am going with the Wolverines to cover. I like Penn State. I think they make this a game. I am banking on a very late Michigan touchdown to cover the spread. I hate it. This pick makes me feel gross inside, but I'm going Wolverines to cover 7.
It's close. It don't count.
It didn't count.
Just because I took a breath. I didn't actually speak into the microphone. This is difficult for me because I have hatred for one of those teams.
I know.
I don't need to name which one it is. But both teams are undefeated in a Big Ten that Rob has said is not very good. And I disagree because, SEC, ACC, no one wants to give Big Ten any love. I'm going Penn State.
PSU to be inside of 7. The push is available in this one if it lands on a 7.
I just want you guys to know, I would rather Michigan be undefeated and Ohio State be undefeated when they play each other, because I just think that's the ultimate for a rivalry game. But I think Michigan will. It's just hard for me to say just Michigan. We'll try to look past it.
All right, let's bounce on to game number 2. No push available in this one as LSU, coming off of the beatdown they took at the hands of the Tennessee Volunteers, head to Gainesville. They take on the Florida Gators, a team that has had some games that they look very good, a team that has had some games that they look very not so good. LSU's got some injuries that they are dealing with. Florida has won 2 in a row. They stay at home against LSU in this one, their 3rd straight home game, but also probably their most difficult so far. Lonzo, LSU gets 2.5 points. Florida's got to win by 3 or better at the house. Who you got?
All right, so here's the thing. So last week, Rob actually picked LSU, which made me
To cover, not win.
which made me believe for sure that he was trying to tank.
That was bad.
Yeah, and
That was real bad.
we saw the results. So that pick alone made me think, okay, Rob is trying to lose.
No, I genuinely thought LSU's offense was going to be able to hang on to the ball longer than they did. They sucked.
I still don't believe you now.
That's fine.
I just don't believe. I just anyway. That being said, the first two picks are like emotional picks for me on purpose, I think. Because I cannot pick Florida. I just can't. I just can't do that. Plus that spread, that's low, man.
Minus 2.5.
That's really, really
They only gotta
low.
win by 3.
That's right. But they're not going to cover. So I'll go LSU.
LSU. I have gone back and forth on this game. I'm going LSU too. There's no way they don't bounce back from what happened to them last week, right? Teams either go further into the well or they climb up the ladder. Nobody stays the same. I'm going to go LSU covers in this one.
All right, that's good for me. That means there's only one game difference so far.
Alabama is at Tennessee. Hendon Hooker and company coming off of that fat win on the road at LSU. College game day is in Knoxville, Tennessee this weekend. But Bama, a 7-point favorite on the road at Rocky Top. And I am going to, ladies and gentlemen, tell you right now, watch out for the Volunteers. Give me Smokey. Give me that Davy Crockett looking mascot they got. Give me the Tennessee Volunteers. They're not going to win this game. Alabama's going to win, but Bryce Young is either not going to play at all or is going to play, but he's been on a pitch count all week. He is not fully practiced yet. Texas A&M almost got him. Texas almost got him. Neyland Stadium will be the loudest stadium in America this weekend. I guarantee it. Give me the Volunteers to cover at Rocky Top. Tennessee +7.
Yeah, I hear banjos. I hear Rocky Top. You always be on me. That's exactly what that sounds like, by the way. I mean, if you put them
I was listening to the radio.
Put them side by side, and you'd be like, that is the same thing. Roll Tide.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Lonzo says Bama wins by 8 or better. As we mentioned, a push is available here. A push is also available in this one. Vanderbilt is at Georgia, and the Dogs are 38-point favorites in this one. Georgia's got to win by 39 or better over the Doors, Lonzo.
Wow.
Are you enticed?
This is so hard. It shouldn't be.
I know.
It should not be.
I told you, I hate this week's lineup.
This is really difficult, but the way, at least the AP, which doesn't really matter that much, the college football committee, when they put out theirs, that's the one that really matters. But the AP, there's some jostling going on at the top, and they may say style points don't mean anything.
They do.
But they do, unless you're Ohio State. I mean, because you beat everybody by a bunch, and they move you up reluctantly to 2. I say Georgia covers because I think Georgia realizes what I just said is true, and they want to look really good.
They had that close one against Mizzou. A lot of people raised an eyebrow at that.
Yeah, and they want to erase that, and this would help that.
You have been anti-gigantic spreads all year. I really was curious to your pick. I already had mine of Georgia typed in. I was curious to see if you were going to be anti-big spread guy. You did not. You're coming to the dark side. I like it. I've got Georgia covering up 38 as well. And we wrap up our college games. Obviously, Clemson is -3.5 at Florida State. Something about this game feels off to me. Something about this game feels wonky to me. Something about this game feels like Clemson's going to get into a dogfight.
I've said this many times. I will continue to say this. I get, looks from people when I say this. Clemson is the ACC. They are. I mean, you can rank some ACC teams in to make Clemson look a little bit better. That's the only reason why you're ranking the other ACC teams. They don't deserve the ranking. It's all about benefiting Clemson. This line is stupid. The Tigers are going to win this game.
Hey, Chris, if you happen to be watching the stream right now, can you bring your tinfoil hat down here for Lonzo? Can you just bring your tinfoil? He needs to borrow it real quick.
I don't need a tinfoil hat. I got a plate in my head.
I am going to be honest with you.
Just like Uncle Eddie.
To this moment right now, I don't know what I want to type onto our sheet here. I don't know.
Well, you got like 26 minutes to figure it out.
There is something about this game that is begging me to take FSU, right? And there is something about the almost cockiness, right? I heard Mark Ryan's little sports flash a minute ago.
Maybe it's your roots.
And he said, this is a Vegas prank, right? He said, this is Vegas. Yes, that's what makes it feel weird to me. Vegas doesn't care about the opinion of anybody. Vegas cares about making money. And the fact that they've got this at -3.5 tells me something's up. There's something here that we're not seeing collectively, and it makes me very, very nervous. I have gone back and forth on this. Something about this game is wonky.
Something happening here. What it is.
Ain't exactly clear.
Yeah.
There's a man with some picks over there telling me I've got to beware. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? It's the tomahawk chop that's going down.
Really?
FSU. I am physically uncomfortable with this.
He's tanking.
How is this a tank? I've been telling you since Monday that this game feels wonky. There's something about this game for Clemson that I don't like.
I just want to prove that. I just want to say it enough so people believe you tried to tank and I still lost. Because of,
I need you to stop with the garbage conspiracy theories. This segment is what I need. Do you think there's any part of me that wants to go to Mad World? Like, I'm like, yeah, I'll just suffer for an hour and a half to the embarrassment in front of all of my friends so that I can by the way, even if I was doing that, that doesn't mean I don't lose again later.
See, you can do all this, but I'm going to say.
You think I want a beer through a hot dog straw?
I'm going to say
that's still on there.
That there is no one listening right now who doesn't want you to lose. Everyone wants you to lose.
Oh, do you understand how much satisfaction there would be for me if we end this game with me not taking an L?
No, I don't know what
satisfaction.
I don't know what that feels like. Obviously, I don't have a clue what that feels like.
I think Clemson wins this game. I do. But I think FSU can keep it within 3.5, right? I'm looking like 27-24 Clemson wins. All I need is 3. Let's switch to the NFL. San Francisco -5 at Atlanta. And I think, am I batting lead off on this one?
No, it's
you?
I don't know. Count. Me, you,
Lonzo,
me,
Rob,
you,
Lonzo,
me,
Rob,
you.
Lonzo. No, it's me.
It's
All
you.
right.
Okay.
San Francisco -5 at Atlanta. I am going to do it one more time. And if I'm wrong, I will never bet against Marcus Mariota again. But give me the 49ers with arguably and statistically the best defense in the National Football League. Mariota has made mistakes when he has faced a good pass rush. San Francisco's is good. Giving the Niners to cover up 5 at Atlanta.
All right. Before I make my pick, and yes, this does factor in, how are we doing as far as,
we picked 1, 2, 3 college games differently.
Okay.
This should not impact you. You pick who you want to
pick.
It
absolutely impacts me. I'm trying to anything I can to not lose. So yeah, it impacts me.
Me too.
But you are, dude. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but you're playing with a stacked deck. 49ers. I'm going 49ers.
All right, we both got the 49ers to cover a 5.
Quit acting like your deck ain't stacked. You've got experience with this.
Stacked?
You've had years of experience of betting against the spread. That makes the deck stacked.
There's no such thing as experience to analyze a football game.
And by the way,
22 years.
By the way, you can bring it up that I'm acting like a loser because I am. Okay.
New York Jets at Green Bay. The Jets brought the hammer down on Miami last week. Granted, though, the Dolphins were doing it without a quarterback. They are at Green Bay, who lost to the New York Giants in London last week. Return trip to Green Bay, coming off an L. Jets finding a little confidence. Packers are -7.5. The Pack has to beat Gang Green by 8 or better, Lonzo. Who you got?
All right. So, yeah, the Jets are playing better than what they have in a while. And maybe you can say Green Bay is not. But Green Bay still has Aaron Rodgers. No matter what some people feel about Aaron Rodgers, he's still Aaron Rodgers last time I checked. And Aaron Rodgers is not going to let the Jets come into Green Bay and beat him.
So we both got the Packers in game number 2. Let's go to game 3. Tampa Bay is on the road. They are at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's not very good, and that is why Tampa Bay is an 8.5-point favorite. They've got to win by 9 on the road in the Steel City, and I have picked in favor of Tampa Bay all year. They have not covered all year. But eventually they will. Give me the Bucks on the road. Brady is finally coming out this weekend. The Steelers can't stop the pass. The Bucks finally have most of their wide receivers back. Tampa Bay wins this one by 14. Give me the Bradys.
All right. I'm not going to make this lengthy because I don't want to talk about them that much. Go Tampa Bay.
Oh, come on. All right. Here we go. The 2 that I know Lonzo's heart are in. Not why I picked these games, but they are great lines. Josh Allen is at Patrick Mahomes. Bills at Kansas City, and the Bills are 2.5-point favorites on the road. That means Vegas thinks that they are almost a full touchdown better than the Kansas City Chiefs. Lonzo, who you got?
All right. First of all, do we know what officiating crew is going to be there?
We do not.
Because if a certain referee is there, that doesn't bode well for the Bills. And I don't know how soon they announce those, but that hatred for that dude, that's not going away. That is not going away.
I suspect the only thing that ref has in Kansas City is like a false identity and a Bobby Valentine mustache.
So that being said, we have seen what a motivated Patrick Mahomes looks like against Tom Brady. We saw what that was.
Yep.
Last week, maybe not so much because he wasn't as motivated last week. But Kelsey was.
4 touchdowns.
Yes, Kelsey was. Patrick Mahomes going to be motivated this week. You can say Buffalo will be the same because, they lost the toss and then they didn't get to, because the media decided they were going to the Super Bowl and they didn't. And so they managed to forget that Kansas City lost the toss in the very next game, and they never even mentioned it because they don't care about Patrick Mahomes. Apparently,
it was a whole damn controversy for like 3 weeks.
No, only on the Buffalo side. That's all you hear about. But the very next game was also a tie.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
Myself included, everybody was saying, just like we saw Josh Allen lose without touching the ball, we saw Patrick Mahomes lose without touching the ball. It's not. I will go pull the recording.
No, you won't. Revisionist history. Kansas City's going. Not only are going to win, they're going to definitely cover 2.5. I didn't see if Butker was back yet. I thought he was progressing, but the other guy he's all right. So yeah, we're good.
Josh Allen. This is going to be
like the true media guy you are. You just follow the sheep.
Yeah. Turns out, boys and girls, if you're in the media, not a shred of integrity about you. Sheep. You definitely cannot pick against Kansas City if you're in the media. You either think Kansas City is amazing or you hate Lonzo. No middle ground.
By the way,
you definitely can't think that there is a team that maybe is just better.
I'm not being emotional here, Rob is. But I will point out that he wants to defend the media a lot more than I want to get hyped about this game.
All you do is attack them.
Yeah, and I will continue to do so as long as I am able to do so because they deserve it. And you've even agreed with me some. But come on, man. Kansas City's going to win this game. You go ahead and do your Josh Allen thing. I may have to turn the sound down unless I can find an alternate way to listen. Although we are carrying that game. So maybe I'll just listen to the fan upstate.
That's right.
I'll do that.
All right, let's wrap it up. Carolina on the road at the LA Rams, and the Rams are 10-point favorites in this one. They have got to win by double digits, and the push is available at 10. Carolina going with PJ Walker, but also with a new head coach in Steve Wilks. Can the Panthers find the inspiration to be within 10 of the Rams? Ladies and gentlemen, they absolutely can not. The Rams are going to win this game by 14 or better. Give me LA at home. Easy cover up of the 10.
All right, so really quick, because we're running out of time, I just want to address James on the stream. I love people in the media taking shots at the media. So I let's say you are a carpenter. Do you dog that other carpenter that's not very good at his job? Yes, you do. If you're a plumber and there's another plumber across town, he's not very good.
Right, but
you dog that plumber.
You have just absolutely assassinated the entire football media.
I haven't said that about you.
Every member.
That's not true. That's not true. We put together fine programming here at the Fan.
I talked about the thing last year. You said didn't happen, and you're like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Yes, I did.
I just know you're not going to go back and look for what you said you're going to go look for.
Now.
You can't even remember what it was.
Yes, I can. The coin toss that Patrick Mahomes didn't touch the ball in the overtime game of the AFC Championship.
He's going to find some obscure Cincinnati article or something and say that that's what it was. Okay, so I hate to do this, but although I like to, from what I've seen of Steve Wilkes, I like.
Sure.
And we're going to find out sometimes a team is more motivated when their coach has just been fired.
Yep.
They come out and go, okay, we're going to play for the new guy or play in memory of the old guy. They're not going to cover, though. So
we both got the Rams. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Penn State and Michigan. I've got Michigan. Zoe's got the Nittany Lions. We both got LSU covering up in Florida. We've both gone different directions in Alabama, Tennessee. I'll take the Volunteers at home. Lonzo's got Bama. Vandy at Georgia. Georgia minus 38. And we both took the Dogs. Oh, Florida State. I have got them being inside 3.5 against Clemson. Lonzo taking the Tigers. We have picked the same. Both of us got the Niners to cover up 5 in Atlanta. Both of us got the Pack to cover up 7.5 at home against the Jets. Both of us got Brady winning by 9 or better on the road at Pittsburgh. Both of us have got the Rams covering up 10 over Carolina. The only NFL game we picked differently, Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. Let's take a break, wrap this bad boy up on a Friday when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. The media wants you to think, says top-rated media person. Fantastic. You might be, Brandon. You might be. But San Francisco's defense is for real. They them dudes, my guy. They them dudes. Watch out for that. I did have second thoughts on that one. That was the one NFL game. That one and the Buffalo were the two ones that I don't love.
I will say, as is every Friday after we do this, I'm almost positive I lost. So
I'm not.
How many did we have different? Was it still 3 or was it more than that?
I think 4. I think 3. Was it 3 college? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. No, 4 different.
That never works out well. Well, it actually works out. It works out well for me because then I got a good shot of not losing.
Neither of us have on weeks that we've only had 3 or 4 different. No, sorry, 4 or 6 different. It's always been a push. It's only when we pick odd numbers different. Like we force ourselves through them. I almost picked one more different you, even though I didn't truly believe it, just to give us a winner. But I'm not losing on purpose. I'm not doing it.
By the way, I don't think he's losing on purpose. If he was, he'd be making a lot of money in Vegas. That's kind of messed up, Steven. Pretty funny, but messed up.
Sandwich Shop. For Springfield Family Dental.
Every day, Staples helps every kind of small business create bold signs that sing. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. It's 12/31. Visit staplesconnect.com/this is your sign for details.
It could be information to change your life forever. Or the Something You Should Know podcast could just be something interesting. Patrick McGinnis is actually the guy who first coined the phrase fear of missing out. This reminds me of when you're in the supermarket and you're always worried you're going to pick the slowest line, and inevitably you do. Part of what helps us to overcome that is gratitude. Those 3 seconds.
30-minute break and cut the pod. Does that work?
Okay. You don't have. Something you should know wherever you listen.
The Furman Paladins return home to host Western Carolina University on the Gridiron this Saturday. Pre-game at 12:30, kickoff at 2. Only on the Fan Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Starting in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today growing as a distributor of superior All-American steaks delivered right to your door.
This morning was the first morning I didn't walk out and see the huge deer in my front yard. When I say huge, these are the biggest deer I've ever seen. I mean, I seriously feel like the top of the back is like up to my chest. And all I say is, please don't gore me. Have a good day. Because the rack is pretty, there's a, I can't count the points, but there's a lot of them.
Oh, it's a buck.
Yeah, and don't come to my yard hunting. I like being able to look out my window and see the deer out in the front yard. It's kind of cool. And yes, there is a slight fear in the back of my mind that a deer will get spooked and come towards me instead of the other direction. If this thing wasn't so big, it wouldn't, yeah. But if it does, I'm going to grab them horns. I'm going to twist. I'm going to take that thing down. Tag it, bag it, and make some jerky.
Tag it and bag it.
Why isn't Lonzo at work on Monday? He got gored by a deer.
This afternoon, sunshine and pleasant, high of 74.
Weather brought to you by 1K. Improve your gas mileage by properly inflating tires and taking your car in for a tune-up. Join Odyssey. And together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow.
The Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, time for Twitter trending topics. A couple things really quick. Make sure you download Views from Mint Street podcasts. Rob, myself, will be putting up another pod here pretty soon. Also, when we go off the air in just a couple minutes, be the 5th caller and you can win the last pair of Furman tickets for tomorrow's game at 2:00 against Western Carolina. And a chance to get the VIP treatment.
Yeah, buddy. VIP is going to get you down onto the field in pregame warmups. You can watch a little bit of the game from the field, and then you're going to get to watch the second half of the game.
Don't call yet, though.
From up in the president's box. When we go off the air, caller number 5 is going to win 2 tickets to the game and be entered into our VIP grand prize drawing. Don't call yet. When we go off the air, caller number 5 gets that pair of tickets and the chance to win the VIP treatment tomorrow when Furman plays host to the Catamounts.
All right, we got time for one, and it's a good one. Wyatt 6.
I'm going to come to that. But before I do, I have to tell you that I received a Twitter message just a little while ago that we got from our guy, Matthew, with the South Carolina Youth Diabetes Association. No rules against home runs. As many dingus as we can mash, Rob is swinging for the fences. No doubles, only bombs. Daddy's coming to rake. Can't wait. Wyatt 6, obviously, it'll be interesting as Bray will make his debut. Well,
he's changed his Twitter handle to Wyatt 6.
Yeah, so that seems to be the we don't know if that is, it can be one of two things. Either there's going to be a group of 6 wrestlers around Bray, but there's also the thought that Wyatt 6 refers to the 6th iteration of Bray's character. This will be the 6th different gimmick that he has worked at the WWE, and we don't know which one it's going to be at. I'm leaning towards he has a stable. But we will find out tonight when WWE SmackDown emanates live from the Smoothie King Center in downtown New Orleans,
By the way,
Louisiana.
Eva Marie has just put up a video.
Saw that.
Yeah.
Saw that yesterday. She put up a video throwing away one of Alexa's dolls, and then the Wyatt Moth logo lights up the screen at the end. Gotta wonder if they bring her back. Also, why would Bray not have Alexa?
It's going to be Alexa. It's going to be.
Think it's Swerve.
Yes, I do.
Everything's a work. Just as Lonzo. Jim Rom's got you up next.
Wait. Fifth caller. Call now.
Fifth caller. Call right now. Fifth caller's winning 2 tickets to the Furman game tomorrow, and your name will be entered into the grand prize drawing. Caller number 5 at 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. Caller number 5 wins. Jim Rome's got you next. Mark and Dees will take you offsides at 3. We'll see you back here on Monday and find out who's taking the punishment on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Dingers over doubles. That's it. If I get to customize the jersey, that's what I'm putting on the back of it. All right, guys. Y'all are awesome. I appreciate you greatly. Thank you all very much. We'll see you.